Put on a suit. Drink water. Don't drink and drive.
Game over.
Take it light.
Now you're more fluent.
He's got three.
Up, Bears.
So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
What up?
Yeah.
You know, when no one's home, I get to yell, "What up?" Somebody is listening to us with headphones on and they're like, "Shut the hell up, Fluent." Oh man. Wow, what a day. We have, what's up, man? How you doing? We didn't get to talk. We didn't, as you could tell, I'm late. Host, it's my fault. However, we didn't even get to talk. So let me start off by saying, what's up, man? How you doing?
What up, Tony Tone? My man Tony Tone is he was running around a little bit today, but that's fine. You know, it happens. You know, I don't know if Miss Fluent. If Miss Fluent, no, just so you know, when you leave us alone at the house by ourselves, just so you know, the probability of the place going up in flames increases by 35%.
It's not good. It's not good. You know, I hate to be that guy, but enough years have passed.
Yeah.
My parents took me to Greece when I was young, and I have two older brothers. They're a lot older than me.
Yep. And
the way our house was set up, it was a long, narrow lot, and there was our house, and there was like a long driveway that went into the back, and there was like, do you remember those old like wooden garages? Like it was like way in the back, right?
The garage door that creaks open.
It actually was this way, but yeah. We came back from Greece, it was gone.
It was not gone, Tone.
Gone. Torn down. Gone.
The hell?
Gone.
What happened to the garage?
Leave them alone. Trouble.
Oh my God.
It's gone.
For the future, ladies, do not leave me alone.
No one said do it on purpose. It was
not
gone.
leave me at home by my. I'm telling you, the probability of the place going up in flames increases by at least 35%. Just so you know.
So you know, it's been hectic, and normally you and I get to talk pre-show. We did not. I shocked the hell out of someone the other day. We were doing 6 Degrees North. We do Jalen Carter and I do Sunday nights at 10, and we had surprise guest Ticket jumped on. Lamont from FYF jumped on. So as you can imagine, it got a little intense. But we were talking about something else, and I was like, it's not like us, meaning the people that were on that show, where we come on and we talk. I go, we talk on a regular. We don't just show up on Tuesdays and be like, hey, and talk sports. I go, we're family. I go, my kids call you Uncle Chill, like. And he was like, oh, Jillen's like, oh, I didn't know that. I was like, yeah, like when I go to Florida, we hang out, like we're like that. And he was like, oh, I had no idea. I said, yeah.
Okay, first of all, Jalen, Tone and I have been doing this podcast thing for going on this September be 3 years now.
3 years.
And we talk at least twice a week, or at minimum.
I talk to you more than my mother. Every time you say at the end of the show, call your mother, I'm like, yeah, right.
I'm sorry, I forgot to call.
Mom, what up?
Yeah, me and Tone talk at least at minimum. We talk twice a week, and a lot of times
don't forget
talk about the show.
Yeah,
we don't even talk about the show. We talk about other stuff, man. Like I said, this isn't just.
I'm always bugging you with my life problems. I know.
Me and Tone didn't just so you guys are clear. We didn't just show up, and this is just a job where we do this once a week. Yeah. And, all right, I'll get with you next Monday or next Tuesday, and no. I'm a part of Tone life. He's a part of mine.
We have a lot to talk about. And for those that saw the title of the show, I got an inside. I think this is like my first breaking story. Because the title isn't just something like I made up to get people to watch and people to click. Like there's an article that is coming out in a couple of days. And I have it. I got to read it. And it's asking the question: did LeBron James tank the 2011 finals? And it's an interesting read. And do you want me to read?
Before you read it, Tone, is it more interesting than cooking the books in '88?
I think it's more believable than cooking the books in '88. Because here's the thing. I don't want to go into the cooking the books in '88, but just quickly, if you just look at Jordan's road stocks, steals and blocks, just his road stocks from that season,
right,
they are higher than 9 out of the 12 perimeter players total stocks that won Defensive Player of the Year awards.
And this is on the road. This ain't at home where the books get
just on the road are better than the other players' totals.
Right.
So even if, again, we're not here to talk about that, but even if they were booked here, I think I actually have it handy. Even if they were, which listen, I totally think that that home teams give their star players extra stats all the time. But let's be honest, it wasn't that different from the year before and the year after. So they might have been doing it all the time, but I would say it wasn't just that year. Okay, here. So Jordan's road stocks that season.
Yep.
Jordan's just on the road. Actually, sorry, these are all of his road stocks. 139, 164. This is every season from 84 to 85. Yep. 139, 164, 141, 142, 120, 132. So that's from 84, 85 to 90, 91. Okay. Right. That's just on the road. Just on the road. So basically an average of about 140, let's call it.
Right.
Sidney Moncrief, total 129, the year he won Deep Boy.
So not close.
Not close. Sidney Moncrief, total, home and away, 135. Now, Alvin Robertson, 340, but he has larger road home splits than Jordan did. Then you got Michael Cooper was 121 total. So their totals are less than what he got on the road alone. Dennis Rodman, 112, 120. Gary Payton, 250. 202 RA. I don't even know who's a perimeter guy RA that won a depoy. I put the initials thinking I'd remember. So
Sidney Moncrief, Alvin Robinson,
would have been an 0304.
0304. That would be Ben Wallace or Ron Artest.
Ron Artest. So Ron Artest was 202, and then Marcus Smart 137.
Okay.
So if his road alone totals are better than 8 out of the 10, 9, whatever, 8 of the 11 totals,
right?
I'm not going to argue the award. He won the award fair and square. I don't care.
So just on the road, would you think they would be cooking the books more at home than they would be on the road?
You would think,
right?
Yeah,
definitely cooking the books more.
You never know. You never know. So I'm not going to read the whole article because I can't because it hasn't come out yet. But I got an advanced copy, which I thought was really cool. Like, there's those moments, like when certain things happen and you're like, oh, it's kind of it's a little, a little extra love, when I, this. Occasionally you get, you're down at a game and you get to go kind of sit on the floor. When I go to the Globetrotters, and I got to shout out my guy Cheese, brings me into kind of VIP onto the court. It's kind of nice. It's kind of
like being on a plane and getting moved up to first class.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. Yeah. So I got this early. So here's I'm just going to read a little excerpt of it.
Right.
And he said, was playing. Okay, to the casual observer, LeBron's performance was simply a choke job, a failure of nerve on the grandest stage. But what if it wasn't? What if LeBron's lackluster performance was a calculated move to protect his legacy?
Protect it? In what way are we protecting?
Because if he goes to Miami,
right,
and they win in the NBA final, and Dwyane Wade is the finals MVP, and that's his first championship, and it was someone else wins the finals MVP?
Sure.
Wow. For a guy who knows his legacy, understand. Right. I'm not saying this is true. I'm just saying this is the article that's coming out. Right. I got an advanced copy, and I thought, me, I love conspiracies.
Sure.
Birds aren't real. The earth is flat. Right. Water ain't wet. Right. I love it all.
Chamberlain never existed.
Chamberlain never scored 100. We never landed on the moon. Anyone who comes to me with a conspiracy, I will listen.
Right.
And so I read the article, and it brings up some good points. And then I went and I looked, and I said, okay, if I look at game one, Wade and LeBron. Now, you and I have said this many times before. They went to that team. It was Dwyane Wade's team. LeBron took the back seat, and we said prior to this, that's why we think they lost, because the next year, LeBron comes back more assertive, is the best version of himself. They win, and he becomes like the pinnacle of excellence, right? And the greatest player in basketball. So when I got this, I was like, I like, you know me, conspiracy, let's read it. So I read it all. I'm like, cool, this is good. And then I said, okay, let me go back and look at a couple of the games. And so I said, okay, game one, they play pretty even. Game two.
This is James and Wade, by the way.
Yeah, James and Wade.
Okay.
James, and they win game one, and they play pretty even.
Right.
Game two, Wade plays better. He plays better in game two in a loss.
Okay.
Game three, he plays better in a win. They're up 2-1.
They're up in the series now, Tone.
Now they're up in the series 2-1, and so far Dwyane Wade has played even, better. Game four is either. Well, I'm not going to give you everything from their article. You got to go read it. I'll let you know when it comes out. Game four is the part where I'm like, okay, now is that the calculated move where he purposely says we're losing the series and he has that horrible 8-point performance? Or does he have a bad 8-point performance that says if we now we're still tied 2-2.
Right.
We could still easily, if he plays like how he had, it's LeBron James. If he plays like LeBron James, they beat the Mavericks. But Dwyane Wade is your MVP. And if I were to believe this conspiracy, I'm not saying that I do. Let me be very clear. I'm not saying, because I can see Goat James Kingdom in the chat, just his head's about to explode. I'm not saying I believe this. All I'm saying is, if I were to believe it, LeBron James is smart. He understands his legacy. And I believe he's smart enough to know if I went into this series, my second final in my career, but now I get a win, and someone else is the finals MVP, I went to and joined his team. I don't know that it's harder for him to come back from that than I lost another one and then, okay. Right. I think it's because now everyone's saying, dude, just like they do to Kobe. Right. Dude, you weren't even the finals MVP in your first 3 chips. It was Shaq. You were carried. You were the second best player on your team.
Right.
I don't know.
Two things, Tone. One,
It's interesting.
It is interesting, and you know I'm a conspiracy theorist too. I
knew you'd appreciate this like I do.
Right, I do get into conspiracy theories. However, there's 2 things that we have to recognize. One, these guys know for a fact ain't no guarantee that we getting back here. None. So why would I risk losing with the idea that we may not get back here? That's number one. Number two. Number two, why would I risk me playing bad so he could win or for us to lose?
No. Yeah, no, because what the article is suggesting is after the first few games,
right,
you realized I'm being outplayed. We can't win this series.
Right.
Because that would hurt my legacy.
But here's the thing, Tone. If
now he 1, 2, 3. There's confidence that they can make it back with that team.
If there's confidence they could make it back, but there's no guarantee that we're going to make it back.
Of course.
Why would I risk the idea of arguably the biggest meltdown in finals history? That's on my resume now, so I can't come back from that.
Did he come back from it?
No, he didn't. Ever.
Really? You got him as the greatest ever.
Right, I did. However,
he came back from that.
However, he did come back. He did come back better. However, that meltdown is stamped on his resume forever. And when I say it's stamped on his resume forever, it's stamped on his resume forever more than Tragic Magic, more than Chamberlain.
But hear me out. He would have had to play better in games 5 and 6 for them to win. So it wouldn't have even been so much of a meltdown. They would have said, hey, he stepped up his game and they won, but Dwyane Wade won the finals MVP. And I think, and I'm not, again, I'm just
now,
using.
Let me ask you this question, Tone. Would it have been
devil's advocate from the article? Okay.
Sure. Now, would it have been more of D Wade was better at that point because he jumped on his crew? more than it was Miami just had a bomb squad. Maybe James isn't who we think he is. Is that the idea?
Perhaps.
If he ends up, if D Wade ends up winning the Finals MVP, does he now in the summertime go, yo, you need to, you're the best player, you need to take this thing over, and now James becomes, in theory, not even in theory, does he now become a number 2?
Wow, I don't know. Or is it, hey, you're getting older, you're starting to get hurt, now transition the team over to me?
Right.
Like, maybe the same thing happens, and then LeBron wins the next 2 Finals MVPs as they go for a three-peat.
I think that it's way too much.
It's because there's so much that goes into it, because now we're talking about what ifs, because what if Dwyane Wade stays healthy? What if Bosh doesn't get the blood clots? What if, now they've won 4 in a row? Well, now LeBron doesn't opt out after year 4 because he had a 6-year contract. A lot of people forget that.
He can't leave. He can't
leave, right? So he doesn't opt out of his 6-year contract. He stays. Do they win 5 or 6 in a row? And now we're having another different conversation, because he won 6. Him and Wade, and I got Bosh to a lesser extent. Right. Now they've together won 6 in a row. Man, that's a different conversation too.
It is, Tone.
So many.
Yes, a bunch of different variables in it. But Tone, you're a businessman, and when you're sitting across from that table, what you're doing is, when you're making a deal, you're weighing the pros and the cons. The con here is me throwing this and having the biggest meltdown, arguably in playoff history and finals history. That's going to be on my legacy. Can I come back from that? Possibly. But do I want to risk that, knowing for a fact that we can win now? Hell no, I don't want to do that. Absolutely not. Essentially, what you're trying to sell me, Tone, is I'm going to burn half the house down because I know I can put the fire out with the possibility that the house may go up in flames. I'm not doing that.
I'm going to throw the baby out with the bathwater because I know I can have another baby.
No, hell no, I'm not doing that.
Now, again, why why I love this is because I love these conspiracies. And the way that it's laid out, it's interesting because the article isn't written in a way like that, it makes Braun look bad, although people are going to take it that way. But it's more written in the way like, hey, just to, that show for Marvel, What If? And they and they do all these other scenarios. It's written like that. They're like, what if, after game 4, right, where he scores 8 points, he's like, F this. I'm just going to take another loss and work on next year. And because if Wade wins the Finals MVP, I can never come back from that. A bad series? I came back from a bad series in 07. I came back from losing in 09 and 10. Well, what's one more? Well, I'll get him. We've got the team. We can do this. And no one's going to say, because we even say it now, it was their first year together. Don't forget how the season started. They didn't start off well at all. That's their first year together. They got to get to know each other. Even now, he sits on the podcast with JJ Redick and he's like, we had those 3 max guys, but that gave us a bunch of, minimum guys, and we didn't have a good enough team. He said that. That's his words. So all of those things. I'm not buying that, though, by the way. I'm not. I know you're not. I know you're not buying it, but there's certain people are. We didn't have enough players. We need it. So all those narratives are still running around going, these are here. And again, he's in his head. Again, I'm not, for the 100th time, I'm not saying this is true or that I believe it.
It's a conspiracy, 100%.
It's a conspiracy. Sure. So I'm saying, in his head, could he have thought, I'm here for 5 more years? It's easy to say, hey, I had a bad series. We lost to a team that beat Kobe, a team that went through the West, that no one thought Dallas was coming out of the West. So, hey, they just wanted a magical run. We lost to them, and now I'm going to win. In his head, he still thought we're winning the next 5. Like, I don't think he thought, I'm going to be here for 4 years. Wade's going to break down. I'm going to go back to Cleveland.
That's why he said what he said. Not 1, not 2, not 3.
Like, do you believe he ever thought when he signed that 6-year deal? Or sorry, he didn't sign a 6-year deal, when he technically signed a 6-year deal with Cleveland, and then they traded him, because I was having a debate with someone whether they said LeBron James has never been traded, and I was like, yes, he has.
Tone, you still entertaining with that guy? I still don't understand.
I love that guy. I love Dum Dum. I love Dum Dum. He's my favorite dude.
I really but anyway, like you were saying,
so what I say. So in his mind, I don't think he was thinking, I'm going to opt. I have a opt out after 4. I don't think he was thinking, I'm going to opt out after 4 and go somewhere else or go back to Cleveland. I truly believe he thought him and Wade and Bosch maybe again to a lesser extent. We're going to be together for the full 6 years, and they're going to win at least 4, at least 5. So he's like, hey, the first one, there's built-in excuses. It's our first year together. Maybe they didn't expect to be in the finals in the first year. I don't know.
Well, he said that, Tone. He said that. I don't know how we got to the finals. He did say he doesn't know how they got to the finals. That's number one. Number two, a guy like James, and I'm on record saying this to you, I don't think he ever wanted to leave Cleveland in the first place. So the idea of him staying in Cleveland when he says not 1, not 2, not 3, I never believed it. I never
thought he wanted to go back.
I never thought that he was going to be down here for 7, 8 years. I never thought that. I always thought that he was going to be here for a limited amount of time, and the minute his deal was up, he was gone. Not because he was bouncing around from team to team. I don't think he ever wanted to leave Cleveland. I think that's where he always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I feel like the risk is way worse than the reward, off the strength, Tone, that if he doesn't have that kind of meltdown, and they're in a dogfight with Dallas in 7 games, it looks a lot different as opposed to him completely going to pieces. Because remember now, I'm watching game 6. Even before that game started, like the beginning of the game, Tony, if you've watched games where you already see the energy and I knew that they were going to lose. Watching that game 6, they came out early. I'm thinking to myself, they're still going to lose this game.
Now, sometimes something happens and there's a momentum swing, but you're right. You get a feel a lot of times in the beginning when a team's just like, they don't look like they're there.
It was just a matter of time watching this, and Dirk was just going to close the game out because that's what was going on. But when you get to the championship series, I don't care what kind of player you are, whether it's Jordan or whether it's John Stockton. When you get to the championship series, you don't take that for granted. Hell no, you don't take that for granted because there's no guarantee, no matter how good we are. Even though, Tone, when I saw Shaq and Kobe, and I'm like, yo, these dudes going to be around for a while. Even when I saw the Bulls when they won it in 91, I'm like, these guys, ain't no guarantee that they coming back. I wasn't sure in 1982 in Game 7 they were going to beat the Knicks in the Eastern Conference. I wasn't sure. So there's no guarantee that we're going to be back here. So when we get here, we have to win it. And what we can't do is we can't give any inclination that we weren't prepared to win it. It was one of the, if not the biggest meltdown that I had seen from a superstar player. And I'm having a difficult time believing that a guy in James was that calculated to go, what if I blew this and then come back next year? So I'm going to burn the house down and I'm going to build us a bigger house. I'm going to build us a nicer house.
Would it be more believable if when they got to game 6 and they were down 3-2, he said, we're not, these guys are just playing out of their minds. Forget it. I'm not going to risk it. I'm gonna take my L. And because sometimes, I always say, fail fast.
Yes.
So if you feel it,
so he quit. Up. So essentially he quit. He gave up.
I'm not. We're just
that's the conspiracy.
Maybe
he quit. Maybe he gave up. Well, if that's the case, then
I don't even want to call it quitting. I want to say just refocused on the next season.
So if that's the case, Tony,
I'm defending him. Look at this. I'm
sure. So if that, because this is what I'm thinking when I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about winning. Well, Tone, to your point, if we're gonna fail fast, why not do it after the first round when we lose a game? Like let's just tank this thing right now. Why are we trying to get all the way to the NBA championship to tank? Because they walked to the finals, right? Don't forget, Tone, they play Chicago in the East Finals. They get blown out in game 1. That's the game where they can go, maybe this isn't our year. How about we come back next year? They end up smoking Chicago in 4 straight games after that. Then you get to Dallas where you're up in the series. If you're up in the series, okay, that to me is an inclination that we can win this thing. Yeah. We're halfway there. We can win it. So if we're halfway there to win it, why go, okay, if we win it and he wins the finals MVP, you guys are going to look at me like I'm less than. I can recover from that.
Here's what it says. Performance was calculated move to protect his legacy. Consider this. Had LeBron dominated the remainder of the season and Wade led the Heat to victory, Wade, not LeBron, would have won finals MVP.
Yes, he would have.
In the court of public opinion, this could have been disastrous for LeBron's long-term legacy. The narrative would have been that LeBron needed Wade to carry him to a championship, a notion that would forever tarnish his quest to be considered the greatest of all time.
I don't think that's true. But if we doing that, then we got to do the same thing with Jabbar.
I don't even believe this, and I love the way that it's written. I just love the way that it's written. Like, it's so good.
I mean, if that's true, then we have to say the same thing about Jabbar, where Magic won the Finals MVP in '82. So that completely wrecks Jabbar's legacy. I feel like Kobe Bryant has proven this. You can recover when somebody else wins the Finals MVP.
I don't think you can.
Oh, 100% you can.
I don't think you can, because let's go down the list.
Okay.
Kareem constantly gets knocked that he didn't win in LA until Magic got there. So much so that Magic was winning the Finals won the Finals MVP a couple of years, and he didn't. He has what, 2 Finals MVP out of his 6 wins? 2 out of 6. He gets knocked for that. Magic also gets knocked because he didn't win the Finals MVP when he won those 5. James Worthy won. Kareem won. So he only has 3, right? He has 3.
Yes,
Yeah, he has 3 out of the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Why do people lift up Jordan? Well, 6 times in the finals, 6 championships, 6 Finals MVPs.
Yep.
Kobe constantly gets knocked down for only having 2 out of 5. Curry has 1 out of 4. He's constantly being called like not the guy. He's not this because he wasn't even the They gave it to Iguodala for holding LeBron James to 38 points a game.
Right. But we all know. So for example, with Jabbar, we all know that Jabbar was the best player in the championship series in '80. He got hurt. He's going to win the Finals MVP if he doesn't get hurt. They're going to beat Philly, and that's going to happen. In '82, okay, sure. But that all gets recovered when Jabbar dominates in '85, the oldest player in the league, not just the oldest player in the league. They win the NBA championship off the strength of him. When you do something like that, it's much less difficult to recover from that than it is to have a meltdown where we don't win, and I'm the reason why we don't win. Way difficult. It's way more difficult.
It's easier, but hold on. In all those other guys, by the way, that I mentioned, they all played well. They won, and they didn't get Finals MVP. In fact, they all probably played great and won. In this case, if he didn't play great and they won and didn't win Finals MVP, it's a different conversation. Now, if he plays poorly and they lose, and then comes back the next year, plays great, and they win, well, now the narrative switches from he needed Wade to win to, they needed LeBron to play great to win. Because that's what happened, and that's reality. Like I said, it's such a. I'm going to send. I got the. I don't know if I got the okay.
I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you.
But I'll see if I can get you an advance copy too.
I'll wait for you to give it up.
I don't know the exact date that it's supposed to be released, but once I find out, I'll let you know.
If you think about guys losing in the playoffs and how bad they lost, it's much more difficult to recover from that than a guy winning and somebody else playing better than you. Because I could play better and win. If I lose and I'm garbage, or I'm the reason why we lost, now not only do I have to win, I got to be the reason why we win. So if we end up winning it again, because by the way, Tone, if next season in 2012, when they play against Oklahoma City, well, who's the overwhelming favorite? It's probably going to be the Heat. And Wade, again, is now considered the best player on the team. And he's the guy who everybody's thinking he's going to win it. Now, James can recover from that by playing better, as opposed to if they lose in the finals like they did in 2011 and he's garbage. Now it's the logic. Well, can we win it? Are we ever going to be able to win it? This might be a mistake. We 100%. This was a problem. Maybe we shouldn't have done this. We should not have gotten together. Maybe we should have made this is probably not going to be for long, as opposed to if we won it, okay, next year, or maybe even a year after that, right? So maybe even a year after that, I can recover from that. But if I'm terrible like he was, and Tone, you know I'm on record saying this, I have no explanation for how James played as bad as he did. Now, I do know Dallas had a damn good defense. They threw way different looks at him. James was much He was much more passive in that series than he was against Chicago, than he was against Boston when they mopped the floor with them 4-1. When they played against Philly, he was much more passive. He didn't look to score nearly as much. That had a lot to do with Dallas's defense. They had a top 10 defense that year. I won't argue that, but that doesn't explain as much how bad he played. Okay, sure, you guys did have you, but it's not like James didn't know how to read defenses as well. I mean, he played against zone before. He knew how to knock down a mid-range shot. He knew how to get to the basket because I saw him getting to the basket. He knew how to finish at the rim. He was passing up shots. He was passing up looks, and it just looked bad overall as a player. It just looked. I'm on record tone saying it. I'm watching that series and I'm saying, who is this guy? Because this ain't the James that I know. Who is this?
It was what was it? Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So
that's what I was trying to figure out. So I'm like, who is this dude? Because this ain't James. Who is this? I don't know this dude.
For those that came late, there is an article coming out titled "LeBron James in the 2011 NBA Finals. Did he sacrifice greatness to protect his legacy?" And it starts off in the pantheon of basketball legends. LeBron James stands as a towering figure. His legacy, debated by fans and analysts alike. His career is a saga of triumphs, records, and accolades. Yet one chapter remains perplexing to even the most devoted of his followers: the 2011 NBA Finals. See, you're the follower who's perplexed. As the Miami Heat faced off against the Dallas Mavericks, LeBron, the undisputed leader of the team, played what many consider the most baffling series of his career. The narrative that he choked has been widely accepted, but a deeper analysis suggests a more intricate story, one that could redefine how we understand LeBron's legacy. It is so well written, bro. It is so well. I love it.
It doesn't explain how bad.
I don't believe a damn thing, but I love it.
He sucked, right? He straight sucked. If we being honest,
so he just sucked.
Yeah, if we being honest about it, Tone, he sucked. Come on, man. I mean,
I prefer the conspiracy.
It's good. Like I said, as good. And I'm a James guy. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a James guy. As good as that Dallas defense was, as good as that Dallas team was, as good as their defense was, as good as Jason Kidd was, as good as Dirk was, and Dirk didn't play well in them finals. Dirk was more of a closer than he was throughout the game. I mean, throughout the series, he was definitely more of a closer. With all of that being said, as good as Dallas's defense, was, as good as that zone defense was, as good as Dirk was, that still doesn't explain how bad James were. You can disrupt the guy's game. I won't argue that. You can play defense and you can disrupt the guy's game and you can throw different looks at him and make him look a different way. I mean, I watched the Pistons do it with Jordan, no question about it. But in that particular series, even though Dallas did everything that they did, it still doesn't explain how bad he was. We can talk about him playing bad, but that doesn't explain how bad he was. Tone, I was completely baffled. I'm like, yo, who is this dude? Who is this? Who is this guy? Because that's not James. That's not. I don't know who that is. I don't.
Here's what I know. Here's what I know. The first picture of the globe, we didn't have it until like the 1950s. Yet somehow Universal Studios used the globe as their logo in 1920. I know that I talked to a man who made a really compelling argument that the Earth is flat. I talked to a different gentleman who said we didn't land on the moon, made a very compelling argument. Yep. Talked to someone who told me that birds weren't real. They were spies from the government. Wilt didn't score 100. LeBron sacrificed winning to save his legacy, and I love them all. I love them all.
It is, Tom.
So weigh in. People have been weighing in the comments. Of course, send us a super chat. We're going to open up the phone lines, aka have you guys jump on in a minute. But we've got some additional. This isn't the only topic for today, and I'm sure it'll come back up again as we go through. And let me tell you this: if I didn't believe birds weren't real before, I 100% believed it after going to New York City. There's no way a bird has that much attitude. like straight up, like, there's a comedian who's like who the fuck are you? Like that's
birds are real.
I've never seen nobody that rude. I have a non-basketball thing I want to quickly share with you because I'm very happy about something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy about something. So as you know, I'm of Greek descent.
Yes, he is.
And I take a lot of pride in my heritage. And, you know, as the creators of the Olympics, I'm saddened by how many stupid events have been added. Like just for the sake of, you know, TV money to give everybody a damn medal. And there's an event that was brought in this year that I love, by the way, breaking. Break dancing. I thought I love it. My daughter, as you know, is a dancer. She dances. One of her disciplines is hip hop, and so I'm a big fan. Yep. It has already been announced that it will not be on the slate.
Was one and done.
It will not be in for the 2028 Los Angeles Games, and all the credit as to why it won't be back is to this lady from Australia.
Yeah. What? Oh, what is this? Oh my God. There's no way that I didn't even watch it. I'll be lying to you if I said I actually watched it, but that really was going, that was her routine?
That was her routine. Not only was it her routine, she said there's people who train years, their whole lives to get to the Olympics. I only had to do it for 37 minutes. And that's why we've ruined the Olympics. And that's why breaking is no longer an Olympic event.
Maybe, wait. Hold on, Tone. Okay.
You want to watch it again?
No, I don't. I don't want to see that kid. No, thank you. What I'm asking is, maybe, okay, let's not get rid of it, but can we do like we do with the rest of the sports? Can we have an Olympic qualifier? Like we can't just grab guys off the street and go to the Olympics. Can we have like a qualifying tournament? Because there's no way you went all over the world and you had a tournament for people to qualify for the Olympics. Like Serbia had to qualify for the Olympics. France had to qualify for the Olympics.
Apparently she has a PhD in hip hop. She's a hip hop professor.
No, you don't.
I say what champion of what?
And that's what I'm saying. Who's picking this, Tone? Who's going, okay, that's an Olympic, that's an Olympic breakdancing team right there. Who is picking this? There's no way you saw that Aussie team.
It was the bunny hops for me.
There's no way you saw that Aussie team breakdance and go, yo, that's gonna be in Olympics. No, you didn't. You did not. No, absolutely you didn't. So if we're gonna do this, okay, we don't have to take it off the slate. Let's actually get some real, because there's dances in France, right? There's dances in America. There's dances in Germany. There's real break dances. This right here, no. What the hell was that? I just got a video sent to me, I think it was like 2 days ago, where these people were teaching hip hop. They're teaching hip hop in cowboy boots and a cowboy hat.
I've seen that.
I'm like, okay, first and foremost, nothing about you suggests hip hop. So there's
I
no
remember,
way I'm even.
Is that the one where as they introduce the dancers, like there's this overweight dude with a white shirt?
Yes,
like,
Tone.
Yes. And he's got a cowboy hat. He's like, I'm a pop and lock it. And I got
hell no. No way.
I love it. And while we're on it, you know, as you know, I've been. You've said to me earlier in the show, I don't know, you don't know how I deal with some of these people on TikTok. This is how I feel.
What do you know? That you're a musician. But that's why I'm interviewing you today, so I can get to know you.
So I'm a musician. Mm-hmm. What the fuck that mean? Make magic or something? What is musician?
I think you're confusing that.
Yeah, I'm not no musician. I make music.
Okay,
I make music.
I make music. I'm not a musician. That's what I feel like talking to people. What do you mean I'm a musician? I do magic. You think I do magic? I'm a musician. Oh man, I love it. All right, we got actual topics, but that was just too fun. You know what? While we're on it, we're talking LeBron James. Let's knock out all the videos I have. How do you feel about this one? LeBron James in, I believe, in Paris.
Stop. Don't do that.
I can't.
Now, Tone, from what I understand, and I don't know if this is true or not, but like he was saying to James the N-word.
No,
that's what I heard, Tone.
Like was he saying like "what's up, my" with an A?
Yeah, like three times he said it in a row. That's what I heard. That's why James stepped off of him. What up, nephew?
What's up?
What's up, nephew? He said it. He said it three times in a row. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard, and I think and that's what triggered that. I don't know how true that is.
I that's the first time I'm hearing that. So of course, if he said that, now. No excuse in some European areas. Do they think that that's okay because they hear it in the music? I don't know, but not okay if that's the case. Never heard that one before. What I was going to say was, you know what? He is really trying to be the GOAT because that's totally something Jordan would do.
Jordan would 100% do that. Let's be clear about that. Chamberlain would have done that. Jabbar would have done that.
At him.
Jabbar would have done that. Like these people think that they should just. These people think that just because you kids, you run up on somebody, and then that's just the end of it.
Now let me give both sides. Because of course, right after that, there's a video of Jordan walking through the streets of Paris, and there's a crowd, and he's talking to them all and signing autographs. But let me give both sides. One, you have no idea, right? Ever since people may not remember this, like Monica Seles, when the guy came in from the crowd and stabbed her in the back during the tennis match. Ever since that, celebrities have been a little standoffish. However, so let me give that side first. So I understand some random person, even though it's not a kid, he's not like 5. He's a kid, but he's like a teenager, right? Some kid runs up to you. You're not sure. Is he there to get an autograph? Is he there to get a picture? Is he there to stab me? And you don't, unfortunately, in today's day and age, you don't know. So I understand. On the flip side, it's not like there's 100 guys coming. It's one kid who's, I'm assuming, saying, "Can I get a selfie?" In which case, do the damn selfie and go on. You're a celebrity.
Which he's done, by the way.
100%.
Plenty of times. I've
seen him do that before. So I'm just like, if you got it, dude, take the selfie and move on. You're a celebrity. You're not a god, dude. Honest. So I understand both sides. So I can see where he's like, enough, no. And and that's why it kind of struck me as weird, because the way he's saying, no. I feel like maybe there's some truth to that rumor, or he thought he was saying something else, or maybe he said something inappropriate, because I rarely see him, "Hey, no, stop." I haven't seen that side of him very often.
Right.
So I'm assuming maybe he said something inappropriate.
Sure. That could have happened. We don't know, but all we saw was no. Like I said, Tone, that was the rumor that I heard, that the dude said something foul to him. That's why he was like, "Yo, no."
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. No, they encouraged me bullying him, and now he's gone too. I left PC, and let's be clear, I left PC, just because of scheduling. The times that you guys do the panel, I couldn't do, and there's really no big conspiracy. Everyone keeps asking, because there's a lot of drama at PC. I know you're not necessarily part of it, but there's guys who are making a living off doing shows. Did you ever watch The Walking Dead?
Yes.
Do you know how they created the show after, called The Talking Dead, where they would talk about the episode that just happened?
I never saw that.
You never saw it? Okay, so right after The Walking Dead, they'd have The Talking Dead. And I feel like there's a bunch of guys making a living now off, here's all the drama happening on PC, and then they just go and talk about it.
Right.
There was no drama. There was no drama. Obviously, Chill and I are still cool. Ron and I are still cool. J-Rob. I don't want to forget anybody. Bama. Mars still, you'll see Mars still commenting on my stuff on TikTok, and I tell him about his mom's attic, which lets you know that we're friends, because if I didn't like him, I wouldn't make fun of him. So all of those guys, Shaq and I still, because he plays for my favorite team in Greece, so I'm always hoping the best for Shaq. Now, I could care less about his brother, but other than that, we're all cool. So no, I just left because of scheduling. So yeah, that should hopefully up that up. Oh, someone's
Yeah.
getting banned. You banning people? We got moderators in here banning people? Okay.
That's what we got.
We
got moderators. That's what we
got moderators. That's what they're there for.
Mhm.
So do what else? Oh, okay. Topics. Your
Sure.
topic. Your topic is one of my favorites. Because you want to talk about, because especially now after winning gold, and as some people said, we got to talk about this too quickly. Being Steph Curry being robbed of the MVP of the Olympics,
which I didn't know was a thing, Tone. I didn't even know that was a thing. But
because it makes its appearance every once in a while when people have something to push.
Right.
So in I believe 2004, Manu Ginobili won it because they were pushing the international game. It doesn't appear again until
21.
KD. The 2020 Olympics that were played in 2021 when KD wins it because they're trying to promote and get us out of COVID, and then this year, as some people say, to help boost LeBron James. So it's not really a thing. It's been given out 3 times in the history of the Olympics, so it's not really a thing. I will say this.
I wonder why they stopped doing it. So when they first started doing it in 2004, why don't they keep doing it? But keep going, Tom.
I listen, like a lot of things that are only occasional. Sure. I think they did it to promote something, right? They wanted to promote the international game. We had a shocking upset in the Olympics with who won. So hey, they did it for someone paid to sponsor it. Same thing, I think in 2021. It'd been off for a year. It was a year late, COVID, blah, blah, blah. I get it. Then this year, listen, it's been the LeBron James tour, right? The in-season tournament win, the in-season tournament MVP, now the Olympic gold. Everything's going to change in the Olympics now because I don't think you're going to see KD, Curry, LeBron, like all those guys are gone. So I think it's going to be the next, in LA, I think we're going to see a really young core group of guys. Well, maybe they're going to be a little bit older because it's be 4 years from now. Like, Ant will be a bona fide veteran by then. Jason Tatum will be the elder statesman.
Which, by the way, Tone, can we dead this logic that James in 2028, who will be 43 years old, is going to be playing in the Olympics? Can we please put that to rest?
You know
please
what?
Don't.
Why not? Sue Bird's playing.
Sue Bird is not playing, but Diana Taurasi.
Same.
Diana Taurasi's playing, sure, and she didn't do anything in the Olympics. She shouldn't have been on the.
No, she did do something. No, she did do something. She did do something. She used her pull and her power to ruin an incredible opportunity to grow the women's game.
She shouldn't have been on the crew.
I know. I'm sorry. I need to me. Sometimes I got to squirrel. Okay. The women's game is on the precipice of either completely tanking and going bankrupt because they're throwing a bunch of money at it, or exploding. In 1992, someone will argue, well, Team USA had lost once or twice, however, whatever, and they needed to send, and everybody else was sending professionals, so they sent professionals to bring the gold back to the good old US of A. As someone's, not mine, because mine didn't speak English, but as someone's grandfather would say, that's a bunch of malarkey. They sent Team USA over there to do photo shoots, to dominate, do photo shoots, sign autographs, and grow the game internationally because they knew at the time, please don't forget, baseball, football, all bigger than basketball. And they knew their opportunity was to grow the game internationally because baseball was baseball. It's the national pastime, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe there's no way of doing anything there. But football was national. There's no teams really outside of, no one really plays American rules football outside of the US. So how do we grow basketball? The vision of David Stern, man, grow it. So they sent all the best players, and look what happened. I'm telling you right now, there is no Nikola Jokic. There is no Giannis Antetokounmpo. There is no Luka Doncic. None of these guys happen if it's not for the dream team going there and now kids giving up soccer, giving up whatever things, or only thinking, hey, my life is here and I'm going to play for my national team. I'm going to play in Europe. Because those guys had great lives and careers staying there, right? Versus going to countries that they don't speak the language of. So what the women's game missed was an opportunity, because you're going to dominate. Have they ever lost? No is the answer.
60 straight, I think we're at now.
You,
Last time they lost was in 92.
There,
And they lost one game.
There you go. So you send the Larry Bird and the Magic Johnson of the WNBA right now. You send both of them, because I guarantee you no one's going to miss Diana Taurasi. No offense. No one's going to miss Brittany Griner, because she's more controversial than good at this point in her career. You send Angel Reese. You send Caitlin Clark. Because guess, I don't know if you know this. Do you know who the lowest viewed women's basketball team was in the Olympics this year?
USA.
They should be the highest. They're like UConn. Remember when the UConn women were dominating college? Everybody loved watching them. You had an opportunity. Yeah. Are Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese the two best players that should have been on the team? No. Would they have made the ratings through the roof? These two bitter rivals that hate each other and blah, 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 playing together on the same team, especially the way we saw them play together in the All-Stars that beat the Olympic team, by the way. They missed such a huge opportunity to do something globally because of their egos. And that's a damn shame. And I think she's part of the reason, because she's got some pull. And look, at her age, now bring it back. At her age, she probably deserves some of that. But she was thinking of herself. She wasn't thinking of the team or of the growth of the sport. So shame on her. That being said, LeBron James in his hometown with his son, both sons on the team. Come on.
No way.
Come on, man. Come on.
We're going to put both Jameses, all three of the Jameses are on the Olympic team in 2028 in Los Angeles.
Yes, they could all carry the flag together. They could be on the James lineup. We got to find two other guys with the James last name.
You can't write that.
Let's go.
Oh my
Let's go.
You can't write that. If that was on a script, they would push that right back across the table and go throw that in the garbage. There's no way that anybody's going to buy that. But we live in a time that's so crazy.
I think that's a Hallmark movie.
It might be. That's what I'm saying, though, Tone, because we live in a time where, damn, we live in a time where you can almost sell anything. And I'm just having a difficult time with James at 43 years old being an Olympian. I don't think he wants to do it. First of all, Tone,
let me ask you a question. You're sitting there watching Olympic basketball, and they put in a lineup.
Yep.
And it's Bronny, Bryce, and Braun.
Oh my God.
And Braun's throwing, and Bryce gets, Bronny gets the steal because he's the defender. Bronny gets the steal, throws it up to Braun. Braun with the loop to Bryce for the dunk. You're not going, that was special. Come on.
To be honest with you, Tone, and I can't believe I'm actually playing this game, but I would watch just from the train wreck.
There you go.
Just from the train wreck effect. That, I mean, 40. You already see the snow on his face. It's going to be even worse in 4 years. So he's really going to look like in 4 years.
Oh, he's got to shave it and show us what he's hiding under there. I heard there's a tumor.
I'm saying, man. So
it's not a tumor.
I'm saying. So now we get in the space 4 years from now. So KD's going to be 40.
No, KD's out.
So Curry's going to be 40. Also.
He's out. Yeah, Curry's out. Curry's out.
There's like, James, why are you still here? What are you still doing here, baby?
Chasing ghosts.
Oh my goodness. What are you doing, my man? What's happening right now? Why are you here? There's no reason for you to still be here. None. Go sit your ass down, man. Please do.
All right. All right, let's snap back. What we're supposed to be talking about is Curry versus Magic. Mm-hmm. And before we get into this, let me quickly say, if there is an MVP for the Olympics, and it has to be from the gold medal team, it is LeBron James. So I had this debate with Ticket and Lamont, and they both thought it should be Curry because of the way he played in the last two games. But at the end of the day, it's the whole tournament. That's how they select it. And the guy was second in points, on his team, second in points, second in steals, first in rebounds, first in assists, first in field goal percentage, first in minutes. So if that's a finals series, that person who did all of those things is getting the MVP every single time and twice on Sunday. So
Right.
I believe if you are going to give an MVP, which I don't think you should, but if you should, it goes to him.
Right.
That being said, Curry or Magic has now become, because he wins the gold medal, a lot of people said he should have won the MVP. So now, of course, everyone's saying, and I saw your TikTok on this. Well, if now you got to believe that he's the GOAT point guard, right? And you said it very well. You're like, no, you either believed it already, and now you're using this to try and get other people to believe it. Because why would these guys going with an all-star team that should have won, that should have dominated and did, why does that change anything?
In a week, Tone, like we weren't having this conversation like this a week ago. So before the semifinals and the finals, to your point, when you talked about James, he's leading the team in minutes, he's leading the team in he's second in the team in scoring. Curry was shooting 30%. I think he was shooting 32% from the floor, and he was shooting under 30% on the long ball, which is his specialty. That's what was going on with him. So with that being said, if you already felt like this, of him being that, you weren't saying that a week ago. Now when you see him in these last two games, this stamps it for you. Well, why does this stamp it for you? If you already felt like that, then that should have been it. It shouldn't have been these last two games in the Olympics. I think that him getting this Olympic gold medal, I do think that it adds to the legacy, and I do think that it gives Steph Curry more credibility, because I think we had this conversation earlier, Tone. I think Curry is now one of 9 guys that has a league MVP, an NBA championship, a finals MVP, and a gold medal. I think he's one of 9 guys to be able to do that. So with that being said, this adds to the legacy of who he is. Why he has to be better or the best point guard of all time, that's a you thing. Again, I don't think that he's better than Magic. I watch him. I see his production. I see what he does on the ball. I see what he does off the ball. I see how he handles offenses. I see how he orchestrates offenses. I see how he play makes. I see how he distributes. I see what he looks like on the defensive end. And I compare that to Magic Johnson. And he is not better than Magic.
Let me start off by saying, I don't know how much weight I put into gold medals when it's Team USA that wins them.
Yep.
And I'm sorry if that sounds any way, but I think if another team wins it, it holds more weight than, I've said this before. No one's been able to do this. Give me 3 guys on any other team that can make this roster, and you can't. No one's been able to do it.
Internationally, you talking about?
Yeah, any other team. Pick any international team and give me 3 guys on that team that can crack the Team USA roster.
Bogdanovic can't do it for Serbia. Micic can't do it for Serbia. Joker can do it. That's it.
That's one. Yeah.
And we're talking about 3 guys. We're talking about 3 guys.
Yeah.
Let's not 3 guys total. We're talking about 3 guys from.
Let's use Canada. Let's use Canada as an example because they have the most NBA talent, right?
Right.
With the exception of SGA, who else makes the Team USA?
Jamal Murray doesn't.
That's
Brooks doesn't.
Going down from there.
Yeah, Powell doesn't. None of those.
There might not even be 2 guys. Right. I can't even think of a team that has 2 guys that could crack their lineup. So,
but if you but here's the thing though, Tone. I think it's a little unfair when you stack those guys up against, if you can make Team USA's roster. I mean, does that mean that if I'm not one of the top 15 players in the world or in the league, does that mean that, even though
if you have a team that's deep, that is that deep, that no other team could have, like, just think about it, if this was the NBA, this was the NBA and you had a roster that there's no other team in the NBA that could have 3 people who could make your team, would we even be talking who was going to win?
No, we wouldn't be.
So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying there's no weight to a gold medal. All I'm saying is when Team USA wins the gold, I'm like, I don't know that I'm going to bump you above another NBA player because you won a gold medal.
Well, I
don't hold Jordan's, like the 92 one, because he didn't play well, but I don't hold the Dream Team's gold medal in high regard. I don't hold, a lot of any of them. The exception is I do hold the 84 gold medal, because Jordan, Ewing, those guys won the gold medal.
Robinson.
And they beat, I don't even hold the Olympics. They beat the NBA All-Stars, Magic, Bird, Isaiah, 8 times. 8-0. I hold that in higher regard. But even then, it's way down on the list.
Well, let me ask you this, Tone. Since you bring that up, hey, little bit, how are you? Yeah. Tone, let me ask you this, Tone. Is it because the talent is far superior? Because I don't feel like that's fair. Because I still have to do my job for example, with Steph Curry. I mean, this is the first time he's played in the Olympics. Vince Carter, him playing in the Olympics in 2000 with the talent that he played with. I still got to do my job, and we still have to win because we did see teams that have superior talent with Allen Iverson, with Tim Duncan, with LeBron James, and we saw them lose, right? So,
and I give credit to I'm less taking away from them, and I'm giving credit to the team that beat them. But I'm just like I'm saying, I'm not gonna. The point is, I'm not giving Steph Curry a bump in rankings because he was on this team that won a gold medal, even though he was a huge reason for it. I don't. Sure. That being said, let me before I say how I feel about him versus Magic, I want you to know in how high of regard I hold Steph Curry. And the first part I don't think is even debatable at this point. Greatest shooter of all time, period. I'm not saying 3-point shooter, foul shooter, he is the greatest shooter in the history of basketball, period. End of discussion. Go debate with
shooter, Tone, or long ball shooter, or shooter just all the way around. Okay.
Shooter.
Okay.
Greatest shooter.
I want to make sure
because
that
when I see what he does from the mid range, when I see what he does even getting to the hoop, what I see he's a 91% free throw shooter, which I think is the best all time there too. He is just easily the greatest shooter of all time. Go debate a wall. I have him as the second greatest point guard of all time. Not only that, again, I'm showing you how high regard I have Steph Curry. I have him as the third best shooting guard of all time. So, because I argue with people all the time whether he's a point guard or a shooting guard, and depending on where you want to put him, he's second in point guard, he's third in shooting guard behind you know who, and Jordan and
Kobe.
I was looking for the button.
Sure.
Jordan and
Kobe.
All right. So that's how high regard I hold him in. However, with the exception of shooting, Magic does everything else better. He's a better playmaker. He's a better passer. He's a better, not by much, but he's just a better defender just because he's taller. He's a better.
Now, the logic that I got with him being a better defender, Tone, was that the pushback that I got on that is Magic can't move his feet on the wing and he gets blown by.
Right, and Curry can't stand his ground, and he gets beaten up and powered. So, like, not that they would ever play 1-on-1, but Magic would just post him up, right? Bigger, because he's smaller and he can get overpowered. So, what Magic lacks in speed, Curry lacks in size. Sure. So, I think it's a lot easier now. Again, it also because of their eras, it's a lot easier to hide Magic in his era because I could put him on a power forward who's not, they weren't stretch fours really, right? I can put a 6'9", not fast. Now, let's be clear. He wasn't slow footed. People saw him in the late 90s when he came back and they're like, they saw the overweight, small forward, power forward version.
Fat dude.
The fat dude. Yeah. He could get up and down the court. He wasn't like when the shorts, you could see his legs were skinny. Now, but was he fast? No, but I could put him on a power forward and hide him playing defense. Whereas in today's NBA, everybody's fast, everybody shoots. It's harder. It's harder, I think, for Steph Curry. You can attack him more. Again, some of that has to do with era. But when you're 6'9" and you're getting that many steals, like I think he has the same amount of steals as Curry. I think again, it's not by much. Like if we're arguing defense, that's a terrible argument for either one. But he rebounds better. So he does everything else better. Right. And here's the interesting one, because I get this one a lot. Well, the gravity. What about the gravity? Well, here's the cool thing. Steph Curry, the gravity, he draws defenses to him, right? Do you know what Magic did? It was like reverse gravity. He forced you to stay on your man because if you left, he'd hit him for a wide open dunk or layup. If you lost him for 1 second, he was going to hit him for a dunk or a layup. And guess what? Now everybody's playing one-on-one. Well, you guys keep saying it's a lot easier if you just got one man to beat. You couldn't leave your man. So it's almost like it's the reverse polarity, I believe they say.
Tone, am I ridiculous? And I'm asking you this because I still stand on this logic. Am I ridiculous to think that I could be a better player than you, but you could be better at this specific job than I am?
100%.
I think
100%.
Steph Curry is a better player than John Stockton. I think John Stockton is a better lead guard than Steph Curry.
And I again, traditional point guard. Yes, I agree. I agree. Now, if I was starting a team, I'm taking Steph Curry over John Stockton.
Right.
For now, that's also the way I like my teams to play.
Of course.
I'm taking Curry, but I get what you're saying. If I'm looking at a lead guard, he's more of a traditional lead guard, point guard than Curry. But but Curry's a better player. Yeah. That's not crazy to say, because it also, when you're building a team, it's what your team needs.
Right.
If I got a bunch of shooters and scorers and whatever, well, I don't need another one. I need someone who's going to facilitate the offense.
Right.
I just think the versatility of Magic on the offensive and the defensive end, again, the rebounding, the playmaking, the passing, and let's not forget, here's a guy who was scoring 20 plus points a game on 13 shots a game, who also, by the way, was damn near 90% from the free throw line too. So it wasn't like a lot of guys.
89.
Yeah, I think one season was 90, 91% too.
Yeah,
so it's not like he was
doing that. He was doing it, right?
So, yes, like in today's NBA, he's guarding 3, 4s, and 5s.
Yes. Now, what I also like to bring to the table, Tone, is you just mentioned Bryant and you just mentioned Jordan. And I think you and me had this conversation. So I want to refresh your memory about this. So with that being said, I'm just talking about backcourt players, Tone. I'm talking about the lead and the 2 guard.
Okay.
So I'm talking about guards.
Yeah, guards in general. Yes.
Just guards. Jordan, Magic, Bryant. That's as far as I'm going. I don't go further than that. I can't go further than that. And I'm talking Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, Stockton,
imagine
Isaiah Thomas. I'm thinking about all the great guards. The great guards.
You know what people say, like, these guys couldn't play in the older generations?
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine Jerry West, who could consistently knock down logo threes.
Isaiah Thomas would be Kyrie Irving today. That's who he would be, except a better passer.
Like you put Curry in those Lakers uniforms, he's killing it. He's not, even if they say no, because there's no 3, right? He's doing everything Jerry West is doing and more. So I'm with you. I think those are the 3, and then it's Curry. Like I said, it's when I say I don't put him above Magic, it's people are saying you're a hater, you don't love today's NBA. No, in fact, this NBA is my favorite NBA.
Right.
In terms of basketball. So it's just I don't have him above Magic, but I have him right there. You're right. Those are the 3 names: Magic, Jordan.
I'm just thinking. I ain't thinking about lead guard. I'm not thinking about 2 guard. I'm just thinking
guards in general.
Just backcourt players. Those are the only 3 guys that I'm thinking. And you know how I feel about Oscar Robertson. I think that Steph Curry is far and away the best guard of his era. He clears James Harden. He was better than Dame Lillard. He was better than Russell Westbrook. He was better than Kyrie Irving. He was better than Chris Paul. I think he was better than all of these dudes. And I don't think it's a question. Now, when you're talking about stacking him up against the best guards in NBA history, not just the best point guard, but the best 2 guard, the best guards, Jordan, Magic, Bryant. That's as far as I'm going. After that, I think it's Curry.
Yeah, I agree, especially when you throw in the fact that he's the greatest at something, like ever.
Yes.
So chime in the chat if you think you got Magic, if you got Curry, who you got over them. We started off with a little Team USA stuff.
Yes, we did. Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to a little NBA stuff, and then I'm going to throw the link. We started late, so we're going 30 minutes longer. Yeah, or you want to? Do you still? I don't know.
I'd like to. Let's keep it where we. Let's keep it where we.
Keep it where we normally stop. Okay, so then I will send the link in now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll go a little bit over. Maybe we can convince Jay to stay a little bit longer. So I'm throwing the link in the chat now. Team USA 2024 versus previous gold medal teams. I told you if they won the gold medal convincingly,
Yep.
because I believed it was the greatest roster ever put together.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
Well, the in terms of talent that we have, Tone, right? And
Yeah.
in terms of the talent that we have, and the majority we got the old guys, we got James, we got Curry, and we got KD. But the rest of those guys are in their prime. AD is in his prime. Embiid is in his prime. Tatum is in prime. Book, all of these guys are in their prime. From a talent standpoint, I don't know if it's the best collection of talent because I don't think we talk nearly as much, Tone, about that 96 team. I don't think we talk nearly as good as the 92 Dream Team is. Magic was away from the game for a little bit, even though he still was elite.
Yeah, he was retired for a year, and we don't really know what physical effects the HIV had on him. Look, it looks like nothing, but we don't know for sure. Yeah,
I think he still could have been awesome. Bird was over. Let's make sure that we're clear on that.
Yeah,
Bird was over
10 days after getting the gold medal.
Sure. Bird was over at that point. But the rest of those guys, David Robinson was the second youngest on the crew, him and Scottie Pippen.
Well, also Christian Laettner never was.
Right.
So I'm sorry, as great as he was in college. So you have three guys on that team that just aren't in their prime. After that, absolutely.
I just feel like with this 24 team, if they go up against that 96 team, it just from a talent standpoint, if I'm looking at this I'm looking at this 24 team, Tone. Remember, David Robinson, Shaq, Olajuwon, Malone, Stockton, Mitch Richmond, Penny Hardaway, Scottie Pippen, Grant Hill. These are the guys that are on that roster, right? Steve Smith.
Okay, hold on. So we got a 33-year-old Barkley.
33-year-old Barkley.
Yeah. Grant Hill at 23, Penny Hardaway at 25, David Robinson at 30, Pippen at 30, Mitch Richmond at 31, Reggie Miller at 30, Karl Malone at 33, Stockton at 34, Shaq at 24, Peyton at 28. Olajuwon shouldn't have been on the team. He was listed as 33 years old, but who knows? But he's also not American, so he shouldn't have been on the team. Sorry, I got to keep it consistent. If I don't think Embiid should be on, I don't think Patrick Ewing should have been on. I don't think Olajuwon should be on.
Okay, so even with if you want to take Olajuwon off,
no, he was on the team.
We could keep it. If you look at the collection of talent, because that's what you're going off, Tone. You're going off the talent and how they handled everybody. Now, the flip side to that, right? The flip side to that is the talent disparity. Back then, 92, 96, it was so much wider than it is today. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that there are teams who have caught up that much, but from what it was in 96 to what it is today, it's not close. To be honest with you, I don't think it's close. But from a talent standpoint, I do think that this 24 team, they would have a difficult time dealing with that 96 team. They would have a very difficult time dealing with that 92 team. That 08 team with Howard in the front court.
Yeah, that's the team actually that I'd be.
They have a really difficult time dealing with them. Very much so.
All right, guys, team. Everyone has 1 minute. So if I cut you off, don't feel bad.
What's up, guys? How's everything been? You guys can hear me?
Yeah, man. What's going on? How's it going?
Good. These Olympics were phenomenal. I just wanted to ask you guys on the top 10 list, just mostly because of KD, Braun, and stuff, and I think these Olympics are actually massive for their their legacies. So I was going to ask for your permission. I know we're on short on time, but if I could
is it massive for their legacies?
Yeah, I don't think it is at all.
Well,
I mean, don't get me wrong. KD's already got 3 gold medals. So
he does. KD and LeBron are most.
KD and LeBron both have 3. How much did it do for Steph? I
think it did more for Steph Curry.
For Steph, it did incredible.
I do think it did more for him than it did for KD. Even though KD, he's the all-time leading scorer now.
But I do think when it comes to competition, the Olympics is one of the most competitive basketball events. So I would say one of the most important events. Right. So I was going to ask you. I probably have this in a minute, but if I could share my top 15 lists?
Go ahead.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So 1, I have Michael Jordan. At 2, I have LeBron. At 3, I have Kareem. 4, I have Bill Russell. 5, I have Wilt. 6, I have Kobe. 7, I have Magic. 8, I have Tim Duncan. 9, I have Larry Bird. 10, I have Steph. At 11, I have Shaq. 12, I have Hakeem. 13, I have Moses. 14, I have KD. And 15, I have Jerry West. Now, it might not seem like much, but what's it called? I noticed in this top 15 list that each of these players collectively play with each other. So many of these eras of basketball were contributed with one of these 3 players in each of these 5 groups. But
what is your criteria when you come up with your top 10 list or this 15 list?
Oh, good. Yeah. One of the biggest things, obviously, is winning championships, and I'd say another's like accolades, MVPs.
Sure.
It's probably amount of scoring in their respective decades. Just a lot of accolades like championships, MVPs, finals MVPs, maybe defensive player of the years. And another time, I guess I could show you because I had like the list, and there was more that came into the list. Like I grouped these 15 players into 5 groups, and it's a really interesting list because they have like their own specific.
Tell me again where you had KD. Where you had Steph?
Right at 10.
He had him at 10.
At 10 and Shaq at 11.
Yeah, I could share my screen if it's fine with you guys. I have it like.
I'm just having I got it. I'm just having a difficult time with the idea of accolades being important. I don't know if you know this, but Oscar Robertson is one of 6 point guards to win the league MVP. Him,
yes.
Magic, Westbrook, Curry. I'm sorry, 6. And I definitely think Oscar Robertson's a top 15 player all time. 100%.
Would you say Oscar is greater than Jerry West?
Yes.
I don't know about
30.
that.
He averaged 30 and 10, and he has 30, 10, and 9 for 8 straight years.
In the playoffs?
In the
Like
playoffs?
Like Jerry Weston?
No, he didn't average that many. He didn't do that in the playoffs, but he did win a championship.
He did. That's what Jerry West.
Yes.
Wow.
But Jerry West failed more than Oscar Robertson did.
He made it more times than Oscar Robertson did.
When you
failed miserably.
say that championships matter, and you have guys like Wilt who lost more than they won, Jerry West who lost way more than they won, and I love Jerry West.
I don't think that's a good thing. It's actually a good thing. I'm
100%. 100% it is. But for Oscar Robertson to do what he did, I mean,
no, Oscar's great. I have Oscar like right at 16, 17. I'm not saying it's not close at all.
I think I need Dr. J in my top 15, even though he has to reschedule our interview.
Over Moses, last question. Over Moses, you think Moses is a top 15 player or no?
I do think Moses is a top 15 player.
I think so.
I think Doc is too. Yeah.
I'll try again next week if we have time because it's a really interesting.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
Absolutely.
What
up?
Oh, hello.
My Brave Doodle. Hold on. Sorry, Brave. You're on next. I clicked on the wrong thing. My apologies. Because Andre was up first. Andre, my apologies.
What up?
Doodle, we'll get to you in 1 second.
What's going on? How we doing? I just want to lock in. You gave Steph Curry the greatest shooter of all time. Beyond a reasonable doubt. I got to push back quite hard against that. First of all, Mr. Clutch himself. I'm pushing back hard. Mr. Clutch himself, Jerry West. Okay, never mind the shot from the free throw line.
That's game, by the way. In today's game, the game was over. We're not going into overtime. Game's over. Back then, when he hit that shot, because there was no 3-point line. Remember
exactly
when he hit that shot. The shot goes in. We're going into overtime. If that's today, that's a walk-off shot. Game's over.
Right. So, Mr. Clutch, Jerry West, number 1 that I have to put up there. Larry Bird, please, in terms of skill in his shot making. Mid-range, 3-point clearly. Another guy and another person that just right off the top of my head has to be there is Pete Maravich. Okay, again, without the 3-point line, averaging 45 points a game in college without a 3-point line. So yeah. So with the chef, I understand where you're coming with. I understand where you're coming from, Tony.
Sure.
And I know I got a quick, because you got rocket fire. And what I do give him credit for, specifically that last shot, the dagger, his shot, the creativity of his shot making is unique, is distinctive, does remind me, frankly, a lot of a Pistol Pete. And he is not a point guard. He's not a shooting guard. He is a vanguard. He's the one that started shooting, made it popular to shoot these shots that the young kids are thinking that they should shoot, but they're out of their mind crazy because they don't shoot 1,000 shots a day in the summer like he does. So the style that he's brought to shot making, I will give him his flowers. But in terms of just the best shooter and not to factor in, I cannot go there with you.
My question with you, Andre, is with Bird, with Pistol Pete, because there has to be a separator. What's the separator between them and Curry, in your estimation?
Both Steph, what specifically Pistol Pete, I think was a better shooter off the bounce. I think he was a better.
No way, Andre. No way.
But just for the record, I don't use Pistol Pete. I know what he did in college. I'm not looking at what they did in college. I'm looking at NBA. When I say greatest NBA shooter of all time, and I think for me, as much as I love Jerry West, and no one can tell me any different about that. My son has Jerry West in his top 10. I love me some Jerry West. We talk Jerry West in this house a lot. However, some of it has to do with era because they didn't have a 3-point line. And so maybe if they were born in a different era, they would have developed differently. We would have saw different things. But when I see what they did and what he's doing, even Bird only shot like what threes a game. Like
at
it
his
wasn't
best. At his best.
Right, it wasn't. Yeah, the number that it was a different era. And could he have done what Bird does? Maybe. But he never got an opportunity to do it. So I see a guy who is money from everywhere inside the half court line. And I also look at, as a coach, I look at the form and I see a guy who shoots the right way, uses every part of his body correctly, the way he sets up his legs, his hips, the release, everything. It's like when I teach kids to shoot, I say, watch this, shoot like that. And so he's got the numbers, he's got the range, he's got the consistency. I love those other players. He just has that a little bit more, and some of it is because of era, and some of it is because his dad took him into the backyard and said, hey, if you're going to make it in the NBA, you got to stop shooting from down here to try and generate power. And they sat there that whole summer and changed the way he shot. So he's fortunate enough that he had a dad who's also should be talked about as one of the greatest shooters. 100%. And he had that ability. So a lot of it has to do with that, but that's why I have Curry above those guys. But hey, it's not leaps and bounds. You can make a case for those other guys. For me, it's Steph.
I don't, Andre, unfortunately, I don't think there's a case for any of those guys. And I think the separator is off the bounce. There's no defense, Andre, for a guy who can accurately shoot 27 feet away from the basket, especially considering how good Steph Curry is with the basketball, how much space he can create. Like, guys shoot off the bounce and they create space, but they aren't nearly as accurate as he is, especially from that distance. That, in my estimation, even though I think Ray Allen is the best catch and shoot guy, the fact that Curry can do that, I feel like that far and away exceeds anybody else.
I just want to say he's such a good shooter. People, the conspiracy theorist says he got magnets in the ball. That's how good of
going on. Something, B.
No, Chilltown, to your point, his range does make him distinctive from those other guys. Jerry West shot, that's just time expiring. But Steph Curry's range really, but he practices those shots from the logo consistently.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's the error part of it, right?
Yeah, to be able to hit them. But back to your point, Chilltown, the way I'm not backing down my saying that Pistol Pete was a better shooter off the bounce is because a lot of Steph Curry's he's a catch and shoot guy, but then he does an outstanding job creating separation with his head fakes to move guys away from him. He's not shooting off the bounce like a Kobe Bryant or like, Pistol Pete. A lot of times it was ISO. He was scoring off isolation, whereas Steph Curry, it's catching, it's catch and shoot. And then it's off, he creates a great separation, and he did with his up fakes, with his fundamental skill versus just, hesitation, more like a Kobe Bryant score. But I will take all those points into consideration. Chilltown.
Go ahead. Finish your last point. Go.
Oh, I just got to give a shout out to St. Anthony's every time. We have to have a St. Anthony's.
Check out Sand City Sports. I appreciate you, brother.
1990, 91, number one team in the country. We were the best team in the country.
St. Anthony's. Brave Doodle, I apologize.
What's up, brother?
It's okay. Hello.
What's up, brother?
Seb left and I clicked on the wrong thing. What's up?
What's up, brother?
Hello, Chilltown Hoops. I'm a huge fan. I love your commentaries, and I just want to say, who are your top 10 players, and how do you view them as people? Like their legacies and stuff.
My top 10 players of all time. Well, first, let me let you know that the criteria is your game timeless? Did you dominate? in addition, did you dominate? Did you win? Was your game transcendent? And number 5, how impactful were you in society? When I come up with that criteria, it's James, Jordan, Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell, Magic, Bird, Duncan, Olajuwon, Diesel. That's my top 10 players all time.
Kobe at 11.
Well, I got like top
Kobe.
3. Well, I got like top 3 players. Like there's Michael Jordan. I call him MJ. Kobe and Shaq. Like they're known for the really good legacies.
Sure, they are.
Yeah.
I'm having a difficult time, and me and my man over here, we've had this discussion constantly that if you have Kobe Bryant in your top 10, anywhere between 7 and 11, I have no problem with that. You just can't convince me he's the 3rd or the 2nd best player in NBA history. You can't do it.
Damn.
It's
sorry.
It's funny because like I started to appreciate MJ even more because I'm a huge nut over Space Jam.
I can tell. Yeah.
I'm a sucker for the Monstars. Let me tell you.
Right. That's what it is. Good to talk to you, brother. We appreciate it.
Oh, one more thing.
Appreciate you, Brandon Katz.
What up?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have clown takes on the Curry versus Magic debate. Like, when you look at Magic Johnson as a scorer, Magic Johnson could not shoot three-pointers at all most of his career. As a mid-range shooter, Magic Johnson's mediocre. Magic Johnson has 4 years in his over 10-year career. He's an above-average mid-range shooter.
How you know that? Whoa! Stop right there.
And if you talk about passing, Curry creates far more advantages.
Stop.
How do you know his mid-range numbers?
Right. How do you know that? How do you know that?
I have all of his advanced stats for mid-range numbers.
No, you don't, because the mid-range wasn't
watched and did it yourself.
Yes, you did.
They didn't start tracking that till 1998 or 7.
Yeah,
97,
Magic
98.
was gone. Magic had been gone.
Right,
It
doesn't. Okay, what you're saying is incorrect because what they do is they can go back. No. What you're saying is incorrect. I'll explain why. What they do is they can go back and watch the games and they can look at a shot chart from previous eras and calculate mid-range shooting numbers. So if you look at Magic Johnson's mid-range shooting numbers, he only had 4 years. He shot over 50% from the mid-range. 4 years. Michael Jordan was not in the mid-range.
Stop right there.
Michael Jordan shot 65%
Brandon,
mid-range.
why are you talking?
So Magic Johnson's Magic Johnson's mid-range shooting numbers do not compare to the.
Hold on.
Sorry, you can't say be quiet to us. It's our show.
This is what I'm asking.
You get to make your point, but yeah, you can't be.
What I'm asking is to come up with these numbers, right? This is what I'm saying. To come up with these numbers and to come up with this, like 50% from the mid range. Damn, Tone, that sounds like elite today.
It is.
If a guy shot 50% from the mid range today. Like, how are we talking about him, Brandon? If a guy today, in today's game, if he shot 50% from the mid-range, who is that?
No, 50% from the mid-range is not good for this era today. That's not how advanced stats work. Like, if you look at the 2 best mid-range shooters in the NBA today, Shea and Embiid, they both shoot far better than 50% in the mid-range. Just to put it in context, Michael Jordan's not as good of a mid-range shooter as Embiid and Shea or even as Devin Booker is. Michael Jordan shot 65% from the mid-range 1 year in the 80s. But here's the point I want to make, because the main separator that you guys have between Magic and let me finish my point.
I'm just asking you a question. I'm just asking you one question. Where do you get these numbers from, sir?
They have all the advanced numbers for mid-range shooting.
Made this up. That's what it sounds like.
I'll put the website in the private chat. I used whatifsports.com, but for the mid-range numbers,
what if? That means that's a hypothetical.
It's just a tracking site. Like. But there are many sites that track mid-range shooting numbers for the NBA today. It's very easy to track. And the best mid-range shooters in the NBA today shoot far better than 50%. Far better. Again, Michael Jordan shot 65% from the mid-range in the 80s. But here's my point. So the only argument you guys have for Magic over Curry is his passing. And so my point is, when I look at passing and playmaking together. It's about creating advantages and open shots for other teammates. So Curry gets double teamed off the ball. He gets double teamed at half court. Nobody's even guarding Magic Johnson at the 3-point line. So Curry is creating far more open shots. Let me just finish my point.
Let him go, Tone. Let him
open shots and opportunities for other players
than
Magic.
Please let him keep going.
Hold on a second. Sorry. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Because you brought it up twice. Sorry I had to kick you out. It's because we're having a conversation. We're not just listening. We're talking. So when I interrupt, you got to stop for a second. You've brought up 3-point shooting twice. In Magic's era, so for the first 7 years of his career, 6 years of career, as a team, the NBA averaged 2 or 3 3-pointers a game. It wasn't part of the game. So to try and say, well, that's a knock on his offensive game, no, it's not, because it wasn't something that was a part of the game. So I'll let you continue, but you can't keep saying 3. Like, no one was shooting 3. So him not being a great 3-point shooter really isn't, it's not a deterrent from his offense.
I want to keep going. I want him to keep
right,
keep
but
going,
you're creating a red herring argument, because I'm not saying that Magic Johnson's not on Curry's level because he didn't shoot threes. I'm saying if you look at Magic Johnson, he's only an elite scorer as a post player in the paint. That's it. He's not an elite mid-range shooter. He's not an elite 3-point shooter. He's only elite in the paint. That's it. He's not a 3-level scorer for most of his career. He wasn't a 2-level scorer. So Steph Curry's elite from 3-point. He's elite from the mid-range too, even though he's not as good from the mid-range as the best mid-range shooters in the NBA. So Steph Curry's doubled on and off the ball. He creates far more advantages and open shots for other players than Magic Johnson ever did. Magic Johnson in the half court, teams sagged off him. They went under screens. So when you say Magic's playmaking is better than Curry, and Curry has far better handles than Magic too, it's not remotely close. I mean, Curry's 6 inches shorter than Magic, and he had of course he had better handles. He's dribbling behind the back through his legs, shooting off the dribble. Magic couldn't come close to doing any of that. Magic Johnson is not even being guarded at the 3-point line.
Now, before you go any further,
Steph Curry's being doubled off the ball. Steph Curry's creating far more open shots to advantage.
Brandon, focus, Brandon. Focus.
Magic can't play off the ball either.
Okay, so since you just said, let's rewind for a second, because you just said that Magic shot 50% in the mid-range. Meanwhile, you
just 4 years, only 4 years.
Oh, okay. So let's just say for the sake of argument that's true. And then you said Jordan.
I put the website in the private chat too.
I'm not done. So you said that Jordan wasn't a good mid-range shooter, even though you said he shot 65%.
No, I didn't say that.
You 100%.
I said Jordan was not an elite mid-range shooter. Okay, I didn't say he's not a good mid-range shooter.
So in today's game, a guy shooting over 60% in the mid-range, what is that in your estimation?
Yeah, no, 60% would be elite, but Jordan didn't do that every
year.
That's
what he was doing.
No,
you
it's
just
not.
said that's what he was doing.
Numbers. Magic Johnson never once.
You just said
Magic
that's what he was
Johnson
doing.
never once shot 60% in the mid-range.
I ain't talking about Magic. No. We're not talking about Magic. You just said that Michael Jordan shot over 60% in the mid-range. You just said that. So because you just said
one
that,
year, not every year.
So what is elite in the mid-range in your estimation?
No, what I said is that Michael Jordan had 1 year he shot 66% in the mid-range.
So 1 year. What year was that?
Jordan didn't shoot that every year.
So what year was that he shot 66?
What year? It was 1994.
Okay, so he didn't play in 1994, just so you know. He was out.
No, it was 9. Yes, he did. It was 94, 95. Jordan came back. He played.
So he came back.
What you're saying is incorrect.
Games.
Okay. Michael Jordan
he was not in the league in 94. He was not.
I know far more about Michael Jordan than you do.
You clearly don't. You clearly don't. Michael came back to the league in 1995
Michael Jordan played the final
in March.
16 games in 94,
in
95.
March of 1995.
And he played
so
the
you
playoffs.
don't know what you're talking
the Bulls
about.
Won the first round, and then they lost Orlando in the second round.
You're bringing up an argument about
Michael
Steph Curry
Jordan
playing off the basketball. That's what you're doing. You're bringing up an argument about Steph Curry playing off the basketball. Meanwhile, we don't have
17. By the way, he actually played 17 games.
Right, he played 17 games. Meanwhile, you don't bring up this argument about any other point guard playing off the basketball. You don't say this about Magic. You don't say this about Isaiah Thomas.
The comparisons between Steph and Magic.
You don't say this about
We're not talking about other
players. And
players.
the reason why we don't say this about any of these other guys is because point guards, lead guards don't play off the basketball. That's why they play with the basketball. Now, let's also talk about his handle.
That's not true. That was true 20 years ago. That's not true in the NBA anymore.
That's your logic. He was a far
Yeah,
better
Steph
ball
Curry had a
handler?
far better.
So
Steph Curry has
Magic
better handles than Magic Johnson.
You just said that Magic never.
Magic Johnson's
You said that
6'9".
Magic
He's not
couldn't throw the
handling
ball
like a
behind his back.
6'4"
He
guard.
didn't throw the
That's
ball between his
absurd.
legs. Even though Tone, I'm 100% confident you saw Magic throwing the ball between his legs. You
Okay,
saw
so could
throwing the ball behind his back.
Johnson?
You saw Magic
Could Magic
in
Johnson?
transition.
Could Magic
You saw
Johnson make
Magic
a
Johnson
jump
taking
shot
care of the
after
basketball.
dribbling
You saw
between
Magic
his
Johnson,
legs
Tone,
and around
doing
his back?
all of this stuff.
Could
And
Magic
I don't want
Johnson
to bring you
shoot
into
jump
this
shots
argument. What
after
I'm
he dribbled
saying, though,
between
is
his legs and
we're
around the
talking
back?
about
No,
as
he
we're
couldn't.
talking
Was
about
Magic Johnson
Steph
getting
Curry
double teamed on and off
being
the
this
ball?
kind of
No.
player,
Did Magic
far
Johnson
superior,
create
that's just not
spacing
true, sir.
advantages or
It's
open
just not.
shots for other players the way Curry did?
Your
No.
whole argument
Steph
is
Curry's
based on
a far
shots.
harder.
Your whole argument, Brandon, is based on shots. That's it. That's your stance.
And we agree.
Nothing else.
No, it's about
Better shooter.
advantage
Nothing
creating
else.
too. Okay, let me ask you a question.
That's your whole argument.
No, it's not. It's not. Okay, I have a simple question.
Your stance here.
Okay, you've
is
said that
him
3 times.
shooting-
I have
I'm
one
gonna say it
simple
4.
question.
I'm gonna say it 4 times.
Who
Your
is a
stance
harder
is-
player to guard in? Who is a harder player to guard in the half court? Steph Curry or Magic Johnson?
Magic.
So, 100% of 60.
Oh, come on! You can't. You
100%
can't
a 6'9"
possibly
guy.
think that's true.
100%
You think
a 6'9"
Magic
guy.
Johnson is a harder player to
100%
guard
a
when he
6'9"
can't even
guy.
play off the ball? You don't have to guard
Why
him
you
at the
keep staying off
3-point
the
line.
ball, Brandon?
You think
Why do you
Magic
keep saying
Johnson
that?
is a harder player to guard
Brandon, why
than
do you
Steph
keep saying
Curry?
off the
You guys
basketball?
haven't
Why do you
watched
keep saying
basketball in
that?
15
Why do you
fucking
keep
years.
saying that,
He
Brandon?
can't play off the ball. So
trying to figure
what
out
happens
why
when
you
you
keep
get
saying that.
posted up? Is that not off the ball?
Show me a
Brandon,
clip
why
of
do you
Magic
keep saying
Johnson
that?
coming off a pick and making a
Brandon,
jump shot.
why do you keep
Show me a
saying
clip of
off
Magic
the
Johnson
basketball?
cutting to the
Why do you keep
basket
saying
and
that?
catching a pass.
I will, but
Please
I'll
tell us,
show
Brandon,
you,
why
but
you keep saying that.
we have
It'll be
we have-
AI. It'll be
we have
fake
six-
because they don't exist.
Can you
they
please
exist.
tell us
but
why
we
you
also
keep saying
have
You
off
six-
guys
the
sound like
I don't
delusional
wanna keep it.
9-year-old men who don't understand that basketball's
you sound like a
changed.
22-year-old.
Retards play off the ball all the time now.
Started when you started watching.
We
That's
have
what you
6
tell us.
people waiting. We have 6 people waiting. So
Get him up out
If
of here.
you think that Magic
Get him out of
Johnson,
here.
why are you clicking it? Don't click. I'm in control. Stop clicking.
Get this
I'm in
up outta
control.
here.
Stop clicking.
are
We've got
running
6
this
other
show.
people waiting. We have 6 other people waiting. I was gonna say something and I forgot. Oh, I went and checked out the site that he sent, by the way. And it's interesting because there's absolutely no data source where it comes from. The only thing that it even says is we do simulations. So again,
So like 2K, Tone, is that what you're trying to say?
it
like a
doesn't
video
have a
game?
source. It doesn't have a source for stats. We know that they didn't track by distance until 97, 98. So all of it can't, unless they have gone back and watched and charted themselves, they don't, the stuff that he's saying just is not true. But hey, I appreciate his passion. Avion. We got Avion, Joa, Peter. Like we got, sorry guys, we do got to go quick. That
Yeah, I'm sorry.
no,
I'm
it's
sorry
not
about
your
this,
fault. Not your fault. That was a little longer than expected.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys again. Good to see you too, Flo. I ain't seen in a while. Chill, what's good, bro? You know, it's football season, so I know, I'm gonna be chopping it up with you like later on when the season start. But the last month and a half, there's been a lot of discourse regarding Tim Duncan, and how he is just a quote unquote system player. And for me, I'm biased. I have Tim Duncan in my top 5 players of all time. It could change. I respect anybody who has him outside of top 5. I have him number 4. But this narrative had picked up, and then people start comparing him with KG. And I'm trying to figure out, both were great players. I'm not knocking KG. But they call Tim Duncan a system player because, number one, they always bring up his talent around him, which is mind-boggling because a lot of the all-time greats had great talent around them, like Bill Russell and then Magic Johnson. They don't get that argument. But when it comes to Tim Duncan, they bring up the coach is the system, and this, that, and the third. But currently now, when Coach Pop was struggling, they said Tim Duncan was the system. But when they wanted to fit the narrative, when they compared to KG, they want to say Tim Duncan is not as talented as KG, which Tim Duncan is in the early 2000s. He was one of the better on-the-block players in the league, basically number 1 in my opinion. A great defensive player, a player that set the tempo of the offense as a big man. I've never seen that. You've seen guards set the tempo of the offense, but for a big man power forward to set the pace in the offense and control the game.
Well, Malone did that. They did that with Malone. They did that with Malone at the power forward spot. Most of the time, it was with the 5-man. But to your point, at the 4 spot, it was Malone, then it was Duncan. Like they weren't running the offense through the 4-man like that.
Yeah,
They were not.
absolutely. And for me, the patience. He never rushed in. You never can speed up Tim Duncan, like DeMarcus Cousins said, and that's factually true. And then in the series against I believe it was against the Lakers back in '03, I believe the second round. I mean, it's one of the most masterful like playoff sprints that I've seen. But to wrap it up, I just want to you guys to speak on why people keep on disrespecting Tim Duncan and bringing this system player narrative. I
Because
just
he
don't
was
get it.
vanilla. That's why.
Because he was
Because he was
boring.
vanilla. Yeah,
Because
he
he
was
was boring.
vanilla. That's why.
The only knock on Tim Duncan's game is he was boring.
Yeah, he was vanilla. That's why. It was no other reason. And the idea of a system player, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, my man, wasn't the triangle a system?
Yeah.
How'd that go for Shaq and Kobe? How'd that go for the Bulls? I mean, just because everybody plays in a system if they're successful. The fast break, the Showtime Lakers, wasn't that a system? I mean, they didn't just roll the balls out. That was part of the system.
Yes.
I mean, I'd like to think that that was orchestrated. So, I mean, just because you play in a system does not negate you. I mean, give me a break.
And people, I'm sorry to scrap this. I think people just running off of it because I heard like people like Rasheed Wallace and then Gilbert Arenas, use that same argument. If KG was drafted to the Spurs and Tim Duncan was drafted to the Wolves, it'd be totally different. Like we don't know that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, of course, Coach is an all-time great coach, but we don't know how their careers might end up. Coach Pop could have struggled with KG. Because it took KG along a couple of years to evolve to the KG that he was.
Tone, I'm on record telling you that I'm having a difficult time. That Spurs team with David Robinson and Avery Johnson and Sean Elliott and all of those vets, and they got an 18-year-old kid coming on the crew who is right out of high school, putting him in Tim Duncan's role, and Tim Duncan doing and KG doing what Tim Duncan did. I'm having a difficult time with that.
Especially with Pop and KG. How would that dynamic work?
At that time, at that time, I'm having a difficult time believing that.
Absolutely. So that's about it. I just
all right, brother.
All right, appreciate you, man. Thank you. We'll definitely get into more football talk as the season draws near. In fact, I got $2,500 on the line to anyone who can beat me in fantasy football.
I'll
tell you more about it next week. $2,500. And you're going to play with us. Even though you don't play fantasy football, you're in. It's going to be the Sports Fluent League, $2,500 on the line.
Sounds
Here
like
we
how
go.
Sounds like how I got sucked into trying out for the basketball team. Like, I guess I'm going.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear. Let's go.
What's up?
Actually,
brother?
I was gonna ask a football question right now. Actually, was to chill. I gotta get your thoughts on this whole Ayuk situation. What the hell's going on? What is going on with that guy?
There's nothing going on with him in terms of his game. You see what he's been dealing with the San Francisco 49ers. He's definitely not going to New England because y'all gonna be garbage this year. So he wants to play somewhere where they're gonna be good. And
I missed it
because it's not about money. It's not about money. Because if it was money, he'd be running straight to the Patriots. We offered him top 5 receiver money.
Yeah, he would have got paid. No question about it. Because
Who
they're gonna be garbage.
I didn't hear who you said. Who you talking about?
Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk. I mean, he clearly wants to play somewhere where they're going to have a chance to win. Tone, I'm going to say this to you.
In San Francisco,
and that's what I'm thinking. I'm having a difficult time with the idea that we can't get a deal done. I know we paid everybody, but there's on some level that we could get a deal done. Because I'm on record saying this, man. I still think Justin Fields is beating Russell Wilson out. I think he's washed, Tone. I think he's over. I think Justin Fields is going to beat him out in Pittsburgh. And they got to
1,000%.
Yeah, I think he's going to beat him out. I do. I'm on record saying that.
You watching this preseason chill?
I'm up here talking to Tone and you. I'm not watching preseason football.
No, I mean, did you watch this?
At all? I did watch it. I watched Jacksonville and Kansas City on Saturday night. I did watch that game. I'm worried about. I think Jacksonville's offensive line is going to be better because I'm worried about Trevor Lawrence. I am. And
I'm nervous that you're putting too much pressure on Caleb
Williams. I'm still waiting for that jump. You know what I mean? From Trevor Lawrence. I'm still waiting for that jump into like upper echelon quarterback play. I'm waiting for that. Where is that?
Do we need to bring back we might need to bring an NFL show.
I mean, you may have to. Yeah,
Let's
Because
talk
I
about
mean,
it.
like,
you may have
the
to.
projections of Trevor Lawrence were off the world. I mean, this kid was like, he was going to be a top 5 quarterback, I thought.
What year are we in though with him
Hold on,
though?
but it's tough. This is only year 3.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking year 4. I think we're in year 4 with him.
I thought it was year 3 because we had the horrible year that he had
His rook season.
with Psycho. Then and then
You know
last
what I
season,
mean?
am I missing a year?
Especially from a quarterback.
I think we lost him.
I think we lost you. Okay. Peter, I'm scared to bring you up. Peter Bag Juice. I don't know.
Good. He good.
Okay.
Yeah, he's good.
That name.
What up?
Hey, how you guys doing, man?
What's up, brother?
All the Americans think that name is kind of. I'm a Jamaican guy, so it has a different
Mayo
connotation.
Wagwan.
You Jamaican chill?
Mike Wagwan, Mayo.
Yeah. We here, man. So yeah, what interests me in you guys' panel tonight was the LeBron and the whole choking versus sabotage conversation. Super intriguing. I thought that literally the entire show was going to be focused in on that because I think it's a really, really intriguing conversation. Now, me being, when I moved from Jamaica, Miami is where I've been pretty much the entire time I've been in the States. And my favorite player of all time was Dwyane Wade.
Word.
Now, LeBron gets a lot of criticism for colluding. To be honest with you, I put a lot of blame on Wade myself also. In my opinion, neither one of those guys really wanted to compete. Per Wade's words is that he saw after Kobe won in 09-10, his 5th championship, he looked up and said, man, Kobe has 5 and I have 1.
But
right?
Then he turned around and told Kevin Garnett, "Y'all dudes are the reason why we got together." So it goes in one ear and out the other with me when it comes to stuff like that.
I think it's both. I think it's both.
Two things can definitely be true, 100%.
Yeah, at the same time. But I was disappointed in Wade, and it's tempered a bit because I think because of the way our Pat Riley looked at the game, he wasn't quick to. He wasn't ahead of the curve in terms of advancing the game, right? Because if you watch that 05-06 series, it still was that classic 90s style with the inside-outside game with Shaq.
Ball in the Shaq, sure.
And when I saw them come back with the same roster in 06-06, I just couldn't believe it. For me, after watching the 05-06 series, it was clear Wade is your guy. You need to structure this team around Wade. Shaq was done. He averaged 13 in that series. During that regular season, he averaged 18, only played 59. He was done.
He was over? He was first team All-NBA that year. You think he was over?
He was okay.
He still was elite.
Media voted accolades. Stop.
Listen. He still
he wasn't 20. He wasn't 28 and 12. Okay, I get that.
Nowhere near that.
No, he wasn't that
nowhere
near
that.
He still was elite. I mean, don't forget it was 22 a game a year.
I don't know about elite.
I think in 19. I think in 2005, 2006. I think he was 20 and 9 that year, and I think he averaged 19 for the season. For the
regular season. Yeah.
I'm sure he averaged almost 20. I'm sure he averaged 20 a game that year.
And I can tell you where I get my stats from, unlike Brandon Katz. I get them from Basketball Reference, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Now, because my introduction to basketball was a little late, I'm 42 years old, right? So my, I guess, golden era would be starting like around the 2000s era with Iverson, Kobe, and all of them. Yeah. And that's where I got super into the game, where I'm going into the minute details and looking up stats like a nerd, and I'm, super into it. So yes, Shaq averaged 18 and 9 in 05-06, played 59 games. 04-05.
No, he averaged.
You can look it up.
I'm looking at it right now. He averaged 20 and 9. He did.
On Basketball Reference?
Yes, he averaged.
Okay, so I might be off. 18 and 9 or 20 and 9. Which
he averaged 18. He averaged 18 and 10 in the playoffs. He averaged 18 and 10 in the playoffs.
Okay. So we're splitting hairs.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what I want to say, because I know I have limited time here. I wanted to really delve in on the convo in terms of the LeBron sabotage versus choking, right?
Yes.
Now, obviously going into the series, through the first 3 series, LeBron was playing really well. In series number 1, the first round, Philadelphia, him and Wade were pretty much a wash. Their averages were pretty much about the same. Second round, I believe
smoked Boston in 5 games.
It was Boston. That's right. Eastern Conference semifinals. Went to 5 games. Wade was incredible. 30 points on 53% from the field. I think LeBron was like 28 points on like 51%. Somewhere around there. That's pretty much a wash.
Sure.
So we could say for the most part, going into the Dallas series, LeBron was looking to...
Pete, before you go any further, don't leave out. They mopped the floor with Chicago in the East Finals too. Smoked them in 5 games.
Yeah. Gentlemen sweep. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, though, and I'm a Wade stan, bro.
Right.
And I heard you a couple weeks ago. I'm not trying to come at you, Chill, but I heard you liken Ginobili to Wade. And
no. That was Mars. And what I said was, I want to make sure. Let's clean this up right now.
That's suspicious.
Yeah, let's clean this up right now. We were talking about in 2005, 2006. And we were talking about, Mars told me, give me 10 players during that time that were better than him. And I already know how Mars feels about Manu Ginobili. He thinks Ginobili is better than Dwyane Wade. That's why I said Manu Ginobili.
What?
I don't think he thinks Manu Ginobili from that time, from 06 up to 09. He thinks 05 to 09. He thinks Ginobili was better than Wade. I didn't say that.
That's why that's why that show's dropped off, bro.
I'm just saying. He said that. I didn't say
You know what?
Anyway.
I get really sensitive about the Wade thing. I try not to be a fanboy because I look at other fanboys and I be disgusted, right? But I remember buying Iverson shoes back in 01, right?
Right.
And I know how it is when you're young and you love a player. But when you get older, I'm 42 now, and you look at things more cerebrally.
Yeah.
Iverson was a great player, but there were demerits there. There was, you know what I mean? Now, when it comes to Wade, bro, if we're talking about 05, 06 Wade, understand, 05, 06 Wade was top 5 in scoring, right? And he was the only player in that top 5 that was shooting 50%. He was shooting 49.5, right? But I think people, even though people say, oh, yeah, Wade is great, I think most people truly don't understand what prime Wade was, bro. Prime Wade was an ogre, bro. In 05, 06, he shot 60, he averaged 27 points on 62% shooting against the Detroit Pistons, right? Mm-hmm. Prime Wade had Iverson-like quickness and agility with the ability to finish like a power forward. This was a guy that was average, that was like, in 05, 06, he had 152 dunks. Up there with the Sean Marions and them. Listen, bro, I don't even know how to, listen. 05, 06 Wade, just from a purely athletic standpoint.
He still wasn't better than Bryant. He still wasn't on the same page with
and he wasn't. But listen, we have to move on. We have to.
Let me wrap it up. Let me wrap it up real quick because I haven't even gotten to my point. I'm gonna finish. All right. So this is what I want to say in terms of LeBron. I think if there's a case for sabotage, it would have had to have been after Game 4. After Game 3, when Wade had that 29 points, LeBron was just okay. I think he had 17 or so. He still would have had a shot at Finals MVP. But after Game 4, through 4 games, Wade was averaging 30 points on 59% shooting.
It was over.
It was over.
Yeah.
So if there's an argument to be made for LeBron sabotaging, it would have had to have been after Game 4. I think it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. I think going into it, he had all the confidence in the world. Through the first 3 rounds, he was outstanding. I think through 4 games and Sean Marion calling the B word and Jason Terry, just going, knocking down shots, I believe in Game 3. And I think after Game 4, he did sabotage it, man. So thank y'all for the time, y'all.
I'll make sure I send you the link to the article. See, Bag of Juice up here in Canada, we have bags of milk. A bag of milk goes into the. Anyways, don't make that face. Don't make that face.
What up?
I'll bring you a bag of milk in a minute.
Bags of milk.
Yeah, instead of being in a carton, it's in a bag. You put the bag in, you cut a little piece.
Why your face like that, yo? You grew up on cans of milk. What are you talking about?
Did I grow up on cans of milk?
Yes, you being from Brooklyn, you had a can of milk when you was a kid.
A can of milk?
Whether mom put it in the macaroni, whether she put it in some sort of meal, yes, that was going on.
I don't recall that shit being in a can. I recall it being in a carton.
Yeah, I believe it's from Carnation. You would open the can.
Yeah,
what up, yo? What up, Leaf?
What's going on? Chilltown doesn't believe in conspiracies, man. So that
I do. I love conspiracy theories.
Loves conspiracies. We talk conspiracy.
Chilltown. When I told you the other day, what the possibility was why Jason Tatum got benched, bro. Like you wasn't trying to hear none of it.
What you say?
I said to you, bro, it is a strong possibility that Jason Tatum came up in the Olympics flexing that championship ring, and somebody
that's a bullshit conspiracy right there.
No,
like, I ain't buying that.
Bullshit.
Why is it a bullshit conspiracy? I'm not buying that.
Why is it a bullshit conspiracy?
This is what he was selling me, Tone. He's selling me that Jason Tatum.
I have someone connected to the Celtics. I said this on 6 Degrees North on Sunday, who said to me it was more likely that it was the Celtics management kind of saying, "Hey, we just dropped $350 million in this dude. Take it easy."
Oh,
the breaks.
That could be. I mean, yeah, all right. That sounds a little better.
That's a guy
I did like my
see, Leaf. Here's my problem with that though. Say that. Put it out there. Don't pump the brakes in silence and make it look like Steve Kerr screwed him up. Put it out there.
Okay,
Let everybody know that's what's going on.
Now,
listen. I think we did that the first time. Not to cut you off, Lauren, but I think we did that the first time we talked about it. Chill. Remember, we wasn't falling for the okie doke when he had that bullshit apology after the first game. Come on, so we wasn't falling for that.
The reason why I believe it, but then why I pushed back when I was told this was, I believe it in the sense that, hey, I just dropped over $300 million in this dude. I get it. And they're not as concerned with Drew Holiday and Derek White. And then the second part of it is why I questioned it is because they said, and that's part of the reason Jaylen Brown didn't go instead of Derek White. Because they're like, there's no way we're putting $600 million into this Olympic team. And if something happens, they were very concerned.
You leaving out the most important part. The most important part is that LeBron James demanded to play 30-something minutes so he could stat horse. And
sure, of course,
we already know that.
He's chasing ghosts. He needs to build up his legacy. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. You already know that. You leaving out the most important part, bro. Like Chilltown doesn't believe that he's a stat whore, bro. Like it's so many evidence. It's so much evidence that he is, bro.
Well, first of all, let's be clear about one thing. He's an attention whore.
He started a whole podcast.
He's a stat whore as well.
He started.
I don't even know what that means.
He's a legitimate stat.
I don't know what that means. A stat whore. I don't know what that means.
I don't know. But
I'll break it down for you real slow. A stat whore is this, bro. I'm gonna get a couple of points in the first couple of quarters while the defense is going through the motions. I'm gonna stay back and go get rebounds, throw an outlet. I could get an easy assist, man. Like he explained this whole process when he said he was gonna cherry pick right after the goddamn bubble when he wanted to start the season late the next year and not on Christmas. That's what he explained it. And I already knew, and I knew this all before. I knew this years before because he was doing it in 2014 when he was getting garbage points when they was getting their ass beat the hell up, man, by 20-something points by the Spurs almost every game. So I already know his whole strategy. That's why I don't screw. I'm watching my language here. I don't mess with. I don't co-sign nothing LeBron James stands for. You do, but that's cool. But that's
I appreciate you.
I'll tell you what's something that we agree on.
I want to try and get through everybody else.
I got one more thing. I'll tell you there's something I agree.
We got to bounce, Leaf. We got to bounce, brother.
All right, cool.
We really got
7 people waiting. Hold on.
We got to go, Leaf. We got to bounce.
All right, quick sports talk.
All right, you can hear me?
Yep. Yes, what up?
All right, so there's I'm gonna be quick. There's 3 theories as to why LeBron played the way he played. I think it was saying something about his wife sleeping with one of his teammates. And then the other one was
Savannah stepping.
Oh yeah, he sabotaged it on purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now this third one is actually, I think this is what actually happened. He gassed out. So I'm gonna read off to y'all some statistical data real quick, and then I'm gonna.
Where'd you get?
It's on it's articles linked to it. It's on Twitter.
Okay.
But
I'll just make sure. City Sports. You go.
Oh yeah, and then there's a video that y'all can watch if y'all want to watch it. But
Okay.
so he played 7 45-minute games in the last 10 games.
Okay.
The entire second half and 14 of 23 playoff games. That's the most amount of games without rest, and it was all without rest in NBA playoff history, according to the data.
Okay.
In the last 15 games, he only missed 6 second half minutes. Played 8 games without rest of the last 10 games. Played 7 45-minute games and 8 games without rest in the second half. The list of players that played 7 or more 45-minute games consists of Shaq, Gary Payton, Iverson, Dan Marley, and LeBron. Iverson played 3 games without rest. Shaq played 4. LeBron played 8. Now, if you want to look into it, I could post like in the chat a link to it, right? But the reason why I think this is what actually happened is because actually the other guy on your show, Peter, he was like, if he sabotaged it, it had to happen after game 4, right?
Right.
So, and in the zone, it's an interview with Chris Broussard and Jason Terry. In the zone, he asked them, okay, what do you think happened with LeBron in the finals? So, Jason Terry was saying he was having a bad finals, and then he was like, they implemented the strategy of making LeBron chase Jason Terry around screens to tire him out. Well, he says in game 5, as everyone's going back to the bench, LeBron's just sitting there with his hands on his knees, shaking his head because he was out of breath. And then he said he didn't have any left.
So he was just tired.
He was out of gas?
Yeah.
I appreciate you. I like my conspiracy better. Steven,
yes, sir.
Really
I've been
appreciate
waiting a long time for this, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Hey,
go ahead, keep going.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to say a couple things real quick. Chill, man. You can't be letting them comments get to you on PC, man. Them dudes don't know no basketball, man. You know what I'm saying?
I just want to make sure that I ain't the one. I just want to make sure I ain't the one going crazy because there's a part of me that feels like, yo, am I tripping? Do I know?
Nah, man. Just don't pay that no mind,
do I
man.
not know what I'm talking about?
They the chat for a reason, but I want to give you some pushback on a couple things, both of y'all, and specifically you, Chill, about the Kawhi Leonard and Scottie Pippen, who was a better defender. I think your opinions were fair, but I think you got to take it to account, and I think Kawhi's better, but I think you got to take it to account that Kawhi Leonard, while in this era, it's much harder to play defense. You have to be precise with the decisions that you make on defense. And I think if Kawhi Leonard had been in an era where you benefited from being more physical, which we already see how great defense he is in this era, which is harder. If you put him in that era where he's able to hand check dudes and keep and hold dudes at the hip, we already know how strong Kawhi is. I think he would have benefited from that. And he would have been probably better than Scottie Pippen, even more better than Scottie Pippen was in his own era with that. What you say to that?
Is it crazy? Is it crazy for me to say this? And maybe it is. I feel like Kawhi would have been a better defender then, and Pippen would be a better defender now.
I'm thinking about
because he's more of an athlete.
And not only that, I'm just thinking about how smart Scott, because you have to be more cerebral as a defender today because you can't you're taking out stuff like hand checking. And Scottie Pippen played in the triangle, which was very cerebral.
Yeah, you have to be smart. Yeah.
So you have to be smart to be able to do that. Not only that, Scottie Pippen, because of the way the ball moves and how wide open the offense is, Scottie Pippen is fantastic in the passing lanes and off the ball. So he would have been creating havoc off the basketball, just in the passing lanes, stealing, coming up with clean rips when guys drive into the basket, because Scottie Pippen was so rangy. I think he would have been great in today's game.
Hey, yo. And one more thing, and I'm done. Is this thing with Steph Curry I hear all the time? Oh, he's not a pure point guard. He doesn't do this like a pure point guard. My thing is, right, and I'm sure it's a wide majority right now at this current moment has him above Zeke. One can argue that Zeke is a better pure point guard than Steph, but we got Steph over Zeke right now. So why? And I have Magic over Steph, but when it comes to that debate, it's always Steph, he's not a pure point guard like Magic. But that conversation doesn't come up anymore with Zeke.
I don't think Zeke was a pure point guard either, though. I think him and Joe Dumars played a very unique style of backcourt where you had two guards that were both kind of point guard, shooting guard. Like they really played off each other. So I don't know that he was even a traditional point guard in the sense for that time either, though. And I hear what you're saying. But I also don't look at Magic Johnson as a traditional point guard,
Right.
Because he did a lot of things that traditional point guards don't do, like rebound, like post up. He did, right? So Steph Curry not being a traditional point guard, I don't use that as a detractor from him. I just say it's tough to compare him because one, he does, and now he's played more on ball as of late, but traditionally or historically, he has been more off the ball. So it's tough to compare him to a point guard that's on the ball all the time. They're just different. Oh, we lost you, bro.
I'm here.
All right, brothers. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Derek, oh, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah,
I'll cut you off.
I'm definitely gonna sub up, man. Thanks, man.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.
Derek, and then we got
Koala
who said he's got a question that'll only take 2 seconds to answer something. So but go ahead, Derek.
Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, you hot. Yeah, you hot.
All right. I got 2 questions. And one of them is specifically for Chill, because Chill, you a 49ers fan like myself. I mean, and Fluent, you can answer this as well if you feel. The first one.
My name is on the show. I'll do what I want, bro. Go ahead.
Gotcha. First question and this is just all time. What is which individual player from any individual stretch of years in you guys' opinions have had the best postseason play?
Best postseason play?
Yeah. So it can be from 1 year or just any stretch of year.
It was awesome in the postseason. I mean, Leonard in 19, he was awesome in the postseason. James in 13, he was awesome in the postseason.
Okay.
Jordan in 92, he was awesome in the postseason. Shaq in 2000 was fantastic in the postseason. Yeah. And he was even better in 2001. But he wasn't, but in 2000, if I had to pick one guy in the postseason, I mean Chamberlain in 72, he was awesome in the postseason. He got his ass kicked by Jabbar though. If I had to pick one guy, Shaq in 2000.
What about you, Fluent?
Oh, I'm never gonna It's always gonna be Shaq 2000. It's always gonna be Lakers 2000. Always, every time.
Gotcha. Yeah. Second question. Chill with you, being a fellow 49ers fan, and us coming off of that, heartbreaker in the Super Bowl last year, and looking at how the team is trying to get the Brandon Ayuk situation rolling and so forth and so on.
Yep.
What is your thoughts on our Super Bowl chances this upcoming year?
All we got to do is avoid Kansas City. Like the Lakers have to avoid Denver. We got to avoid Kansas City. I don't want nothing else to do with Patrick Mahomes. That's it. If we can avoid Kansas City, we winning it.
So you're saying if you make it to the Super Bowl and you're playing anyone other
than Kansas City, we winning it.
You got this.
Yes, we winning it. I don't want nothing else. I asked for Patrick Mahomes last year because I wanted a rematch. I thought we had them beat in 2020. I thought we had them beat, so I wanted a rematch. After what I saw last year, I'm straight on Mahomes. I don't want nothing else to do with him. If we
I ain't gonna hold you.
If we can avoid them, I think we can beat anybody else.
I ain't gonna hold you because watching the game, I'm like, out of any team that you see, Kansas City face, we give them a run for their money pretty much every time we play them. I mean, outside of that little regular season game where they blew us out, in the 2 Super Bowls that we played them in, we gave them a run for their money. But it was just,
it's what you just said about.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in you. I'm disappointed in you. I got to cut you both off and say I'm disappointed in you. First of all, Ox, I'm allowed to spread Laker propaganda because we champs and your guys have never been. But most importantly, if I was you, I want Kansas City.
No, I already did that. I already been down that block, Tone. I already seen that already.
Duck and smoke.
I already call it whatever you want to call it. Teams duck smoke all the time. Let's be clear about that right now. Team, don't think that and just so you know, Derek, my man right here, he knows this. He's on record knowing this. That last season in the playoffs, when Minnesota bounced Denver 100%, Dallas was like, "Whew, we ain't got."
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
We ain't got to see them dudes. We are straight. So teams duck smoke all the time. All the time, teams duck smoke. So just because I don't want nothing else to do with the best quarterback of this generation, I'm ducking smoke. No, it's fine. I'm ducking smoke.
I just don't want my team. I just don't want my team to be like the Buffalo Bills going to four straight Super Bowls.
We gotta win it. We can't just keep getting it, Derek. We gotta win it. We have.
And if that means we gotta avoid Kansas City to get one, then it is what it is.
I'm so straight with that. I don't want nothing else
Yeah.
to do with them dudes. I'm good.
But yeah, that's all I have for
All
y'all
right,
tonight.
brother. Good to
I
talk to you.
appreciate you, man.
Appreciate
One more and we
Okay,
out.
we got Koala who says 10 seconds to answer his question. So I like the sound.
You guys kind of answered it last question, but I'm gonna ask it
even
anyways.
better.
What's most likely gonna happen next year? The Celtics going back to back, or the Chiefs three-peating?
Oh no, we didn't
Well,
answer that.
we haven't had a repeat champion since the Warriors in 18. So this era we have not. Not only have we not had a repeat champion in this era, the team that won the NBA championship or was the team that was in the NBA championship the next year.
Yeah,
I don't think they made it past the second round.
yeah, except the Lakers in 20.
That's
but
it. That's
yeah,
it.
so
There's nobody else. So what's more likely to happen? Just like I don't want nothing else to do with Patrick Mahomes. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that Kansas City is, even though they did beat Cincinnati, I'm not sure if they want to see them dudes again. You could beat somebody and be out on them. You could beat somebody and be like, I don't want nothing else to do with them. That
you think they're gonna get them back this year? Cincinnati in the AFC.
I think they're going to be better. Like I said, Joe Burrow reminded me of how good he was last year when they came up to San Francisco and kicked the mud hole in our ass. So he definitely, I think Cincinnati's going to be better. Their problem is injuries. That's it. I'm starting to tone. I'm starting to think that Joe Burrow might be made of glass. I ain't there yet, but I'm starting to think it. That he might be made of glass.
Fluent, what about you? What do you think?
I'm going to say this, and I'm on record as saying this as early as the playoffs this year. So I'm just going to stick to my guns and say, barring any major injuries, because that's always a caveat you have to give, I don't think there's a team in the East that has the roster depth, talent, or general manager with half a brain in the East to give Boston a run for at least a couple of years. So I think Boston getting to the finals is almost a lock. Three-peating as in the NFL is like unheard of.
Yes.
So
who's
I'm-
ever done it, Tone? Who's ever done that, Tone?
I don't think anyone's ever done it.
No one thought the Chiefs were even going to make the Super Bowl last year, and that was like the weakest Chiefs team we've seen, since the first one they won.
Yeah, they were surprised last year, but Mahomes keeps finding a way to do it. I'm gonna go with the Celtics because they're going to be in the final, and I don't think the Chiefs will be in the final. I'm going to go with the Celtics winning another repeating for the first time since what? The first time since the Warriors repeated back in
7 years. Yeah. And OG, you got the Celtics too, right?
I do.
All right. Yeah. Have a great day, guys.
All right, guys.
appreciate you, man.
Good to talk to you, brother.
You said you had just one quick thing to finish up on, Joel.
Yeah, my thing really was just a question for you, Fluent. I just wanted to know what NFL team you rooted for. That was really it.
Oh, right here.
He a Bears fan.
I can't see them. I can't see that.
He's a Bears fan.
Oh, he's a Bears fan.
Yes,
I'm a lifelong suffering.
Yeah, Tony's a Bears fan.
Caleb Williams, right? Caleb's there.
Yeah, Caleb's there.
Any thoughts on him? Next Pat Mahomes?
He's going to be the next Bears quarterback, which what every previous Bears quarterback has been.
Oh God, you think this is like a curse at this point where you guys?
No, it's not. No, it's not because what they've actually done with him is they've done him some justice.
They've done something different. Yeah,
yes,
they
have.
put Allen
They did
around
not do
him,
that with Justin Fields. They didn't. They wrecked him.
No, they wrecked. But they've wrecked everyone ever since they won in 1985 and disbanded the Honey Bears, the cheerleaders. It's been a curse. So we are cursed, and we just embrace it. That's it.
You don't think seriously? You don't think you guys can hit on this guy? I mean,
listen.
Who
have they hit on, Joe? Joe. Since Jay Cutler, who have they hit on, Joe?
Even Jay Cutler.
No one, but I'm just
okay. So what we doing, man?
This is the best quarterback coming out of college.
Hold on a sec. Jay, what did Maya Angelou tell you?
When somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
The Bears have shown me they're a team that ruins quarterbacks and never get it right. So until they change that narrative, I'm going to believe who they are.
Damn.
I want to be wrong, but I'm not buying into it again. I'm not doing it.
I mean, hey, I'm a Pats guy, so we're gonna suck for a couple of years.
Too. All right, man.
Yeah, we're in a pretty bad situation too.
I appreciate you, brother. Starting next week, just as a reminder, we're going to go a little bit more. We're going to do we'll do a segment on the NFL every week. We got a fantasy football league. Fluents, $2,500 Fluent dollars on the line if you can beat me in fantasy football. Chill's going to play. We're going to get him to play. And then I will also let you know as soon, and I'm going to put it in the comments of this, as soon as that article drops that asks the question, did LeBron choke or did he tank? I'll let you know when that comes out. But we ran longer than expected.
Yes, we did.
Way
We ran
over
way over
time.
time. Yep,
We're going to get in trouble. Miss Fluent is going to be angry when I wake her up, when I go to bed. You're going to get in trouble. I'm going to just say it's your fault. You can deal with the angry text. But until then,
put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. Last time you talked to your mother, call your mother.
Today. I started today. I went and swam in her pool. Took the
Very
kids.
good.
Yeah.
We will talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it.